Well, there it goes. The neighborhood. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Welcome on this miserable Saturday morning. It is June 25th.
You look very sharp.
Look
how sharp you look.
I look tight. Usually you don't do white on white, but this is...
They say that if you wear a white shirt, it makes your face look good. It brings like light and stuff to your...
Yeah. Also, I got decent color. I got the natural light streaming in. Thank you, though. That's my darling and adorable wife choice.
It's too far from the 5'5". It looks like your show is 8:55.
Well, this leaves room for my head. So you can see the 8 on one side. A little thing like that. I can just go down here and do the show from here. But, yeah, well, 8:55, that is the number episode of Dave's Gone By that this is. And we're calling it Good Sport, which is kind of cool. We have a guest in the neighborhood who's not only truly a good sport, but sport is in his name. His name is Tony Sportiello. He's going to be joining us not too far from now to talk with Rabbi Saul Solomon. Now, Tony is a playwright, very long-time playwright. He's also been a director and a producer. As a matter of fact, a really exciting thing is that Tony is currently already the artistic director of a brand new off-Broadway theater. It's in Midtown Manhattan on West 45th Street. The theater itself, the building, is in no way new. It was the West 45th Street Theater. It was the Davenport Theater for a couple of years when producer Ken Davenport tried to make a go of it. Now, a friend of the neighborhood, someone that we haven't had on the show a few years ago, Al Tapper, has bought it and put tons of money into it because he collects things and he's a wealthy guy. So he bought himself a theater. And he got my longtime colleague and friend, Tony Sportiello, to run it as artistic director. So it hasn't opened yet. It's like a week or two away. But they've got shows booked. As a matter of fact, Seth Beeson-Hirsch's Love Quirks is going to be playing there. And Seth was on the show about a month ago. So it's a big deal. It's great to have Tony on. I've known him so many years, and of course I'm going to be begging him for favors, but my wife is saying, go easy. Don't beg, don't plead.
It's like when you're dating, you can't be so desperate.
I'm desperate. I am so desperate.
No, but you know what I really admire about Tony? Like, he came to see your reading, the staged reading, and he's a wonderful, I think, creative, artistic people. I told you the story, are the best audience members. Like, when I was teaching in the lecture hall, you know, sometimes you bomb when you're teaching, and the one kid kept raising his hand and engaging, and then the next class he brought his guitar. I said, he gets it.
Yeah.
You know, like the engagement of the audience. Tony was such an engaged audience member.
Well, you want, a sweetheart also, but a very,
you feel that, that
because also actors, even if they're not friends, even if you don't know the person, you don't want them to, you don't want to feel like cringy. You're going to give as much goodwill as you possibly can. I tried that yesterday, as a matter of fact. We had, and by the way, yes, we will talk about abortion, but later in the show. I've got unbelievable cauldrons of rage in me at the moment, but I'm holding you back for a while because we have our guest coming.
Iris likes your show.
Who does?
Iris.
Oh,
she was traveling, I think, somewhere. I forget her.
Yeah, well, she gets to go. I mean, she's been to all these different places.
She was reporting. I don't know if it was, like, work or fun travel.
Well, thank you, Iris. Longtime friend of the neighborhood, of course.
She was a guest. She was a great guest.
Several times, yeah.
Did she play the quiz? I think she's been a couple.
She's done a couple of the quizzes. She's written books.
For Vicky in a long time.
Well, because we've had guests who come on, like today. Tony will stay on if he can. I mean, he's got like a lighting design plot thing to do this morning at the theater. But he will try and take time to play the Today Yesterday trivia quiz with Leslie Hoban Blake and David Sheward, both of them longtime theater critics and friends of the neighborhood. So yeah, we've got a trivia quiz. We got all the usual fun stuff before I unload, hopefully in a really, really funny way, on what happened with the Supreme Court this week. So but we'll save, we'll get there. And I will be replaying, I will be reshowing Rabbi Saul Solomon's rabbinical reflection from 2013, when Texas put in some draconian laws about abortion, and he had some things to say about that. And I posted it on Facebook. If you want to hear that separately, it's just an audio file. But yeah, that it bears repeating
Oh, I gotta invite
one
you.
more time, 9 years later. But that's going to be on the program today.
I gotta invite people on the
Yeah,
messenger.
please do. And also, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned is going to be going to Bloomfield, Colorado. Every week, I make a terrible...
Duplicate tab.
Joyce is trying to help people log on and stuff here.
Trying to invite people. I made a Google.
Is it Bloomfield or Broomfield? Oh dear.
Broomfield.
I'm thinking Mike Bloomfield, the guitarist. Broomfield, Colorado, is today's victim. I should have said that all this time. Today's victim is Broomfield, Colorado, of our terrible, evil,
What time
vulgar.
does he join us?
Who?
Tony.
In like 5 minutes. He's already trying to log in. So yeah, like 5 minutes till Tony. I'll give a countdown even, because we're calling this Good Sport. Get it for Tony Sport. Yellow. So, Broomfield, Colorado is our Limerick, and do we have anything else? Not doing Broadway this week for stuff. Yeah, I think that kind of covers it. Oh, and of course, Greeley Crimes and Old Times, where in the newspaper of Greeley, Colorado, there are 2 very funny columns every week that are actually based in real life stuff. One of them is phone calls that come into the local police department from people seeing weird stuff happening in their neighborhood. And it's public record, no names, no actual addresses of where they are, but the information they get from the police, and they take the funniest, most ridiculous ones and put them in a column in the paper. Also, there's a column called 100 Years Ago, where our friend Mike Peters goes through the newspapers from 1922 and looks at things that were published then that we look at askance, if I may use that word, or you know what, we look at 2 scances, and we go, oh, what is 1 scan? 2 scances of something that was published literally 10 decades prior, and we share it with you because from our modern perspective, well, that's silly, or that's funny, or the more things change, the more they remain the same. Well, this show changes and remains the same. That's the beautiful thing about Dave's Gone By. With me, Dave Lefkowitz. It's our 855th episode. If you want to find out more about all our others, of course, you can go to davesgoneby.com. And then what else do I need to tell you? Not a lot. In fact, one of the important things is I'm going to be bringing in Rabbi Saul Solomon in just a moment. Now, Rabbi Saul, I don't want to shock you. All right, I'll just lay it out there. Rabbi Saul is Jewish, and and fiercely so, and beautifully so as well. He's the founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. He's done a one-man show called Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon. He's also done a hilarious TV show for Long Island cable TV about a decade or so ago. He does his rabbinical reflections, as I mentioned, his sermons, and we'll hear his about abortion later in this program. But before then, he's going to come on this show and do our interview with artistic director, not just producer, but artistic director, Tony Sportiello. So let me get the rabbi's music going, or not even. I haven't played the opening show music. So this, we always get to play this. Here we go. Here's our full show intro.
What? Paris at all, thanks. I remember Tony from when I did a play in Madison Avenue Theater. Good to see he's doing well.
Who says this?
Iris.
She did a play at Madison Avenue.
6 degrees, right? Everybody.
Yeah, and I did a show at. Yes. That's how I knew Tony, of course, from Madison Avenue Theater. Yeah.
Remember when she did Madison Avenue Theater? Is it on Madison?
I think they used to do it in either a church or someplace on that, or there was a. That's Jason's so cool. Crown Royal sounds familiar, and I don't know why.
That's a soft drink, I think.
Yeah. Anyway, let's play our intro theme and bring Rabbi Saul Solomon and Tony Sportiello into the neighborhood.
Good morning. There goes the neighborhood.
And there was much rejoicing.
Didn't your meds kick in yet?
Yeah, David Lefkowitz here. He's a Long Island arts guy. He's got his own radio show.
I want you all to really enjoy a wonderful program done by a fine artist.
A glorious thing of unparalleled beauty.
broadcasters, so keep on listening to Mr. Dave.
Oh, shalom, my friends, shalom, my enemies. This is your old pal, Rabbi Sol Solomon, founder and spiritual leader of Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck, New York. And it is a delight for me to be bringing to you this, well, there he was. Now I see a door. Now I see a man with headphones again. Shalom, oh my God, let me make sure he's unmuted. Tony Sportello, first of all, we can see you. Can we hear you? Hello? Say something. Hello, shalom. He's in his theater, by the way. This is a brand new off-Broadway theater called the AMT. Now, Tony, can you even gesture or do? Can you? Hello. No, you're. I don't know what the thing is. Cannot hear you.
Let me see. He's on his phone, probably.
Yeah, you have to hit some sort of button on your eye thing.
We can ask him to unmute.
It's not even doing this thing.
Oh yeah, I think if he unplugs his earpiece, maybe. I don't
Maybe
know.
if you unplug your earpiece, you kind of make believe you're doing a circumcision on your ears.
Or have him join, leave, and come again, but connect audio through his phone.
Yeah. So see if like on your honeymoon you can come again. Oh wait, now you're connecting the audio.
Woo!
Hold on. Shalom, Tony. God damn it, no. No. Apparently we can abort babies, but we can also abort sound here. Hello? Shalom? You're outside, or ish, in a beautiful day. I cannot... Tony wanted to surprise us by showing us some actors and tech people who are involved in a show at the AMT. Unfortunately...
Can you text him, or do you have his text?
Only in Facebook. I can't... Oh, there's the theater. I guess it doesn't matter without doing it. This is the theater. It's on West 45th Street, either between 9th and 10th or 8th and 9th. Brand new awning there. Sideways man. A man going in. So he's giving us a basic tour without the sound. That's all right. That's great. He's coming into the front door of the theater.
Just have him reconnect.
Yeah, well, I think let him sit down and get settled. But now he just wants to show us what the theater looks like. There's a door. The theater has a door and an exit. So if you hate the show, you can leave. If there's a fire, you can leave too. Now, oh, look at this. This is wiring. Oh, boy.
He thinks we can hear him.
Right, well, he doesn't know. He doesn't have. He can't. But he's just giving us a tour. This is fine. He's not talking, so I think he knows that I'm talking and he's not. We'll see. Oh, look at this. The dressing room.
He tried to connect with audio. Maybe I can connect with him.
All right. But this is the dressing room for the AMT. Oh, yeah. All right, ready? Okay, we're going to do this. I want to show that before, but now I see his sunglasses, his glasses. What is the thing?
Wait, no, ask him to talk. Tony?
Hello?
Shalom, Tony, there you are.
Yay!
Hey guys, sorry about that. We have, in this brand new theater, we have all kinds of dead spots going on, and that was one of them. I'm going to take a second. Hold on, though.
Is that a rehearsal going on? Is that Shrek Jr.? Oh, I hear the sound of children. It makes my skin crawl. All right. Right. Hello. Shalom. Oh, no, this is good. All right. Look at that. People. I see people. Hello. Shalom to you all.
It's a beautiful theater.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful.
Yes, it is. I couldn't really hear the singing in the thing, but...
Okay, all right. We're done with the preview. They were very excited that you were going to be on, and they were going to be on Dave's Gone By, and with the rabbi. So they were thrilled about that. They were in the middle of a song, unfortunately, but.
What song?
Yeah, what song was from Shrek Jr.? What were they singing?
Yes, from Shrek Jr. I don't know exactly which song. Unfortunately, I'm not as familiar with the score on that as I should be. But I will know by July 8th, 9th, and 10th.
So who's directing Shrek Jr.? Obviously you're not. Or who
No,
is?
I'm not. Mary Lauren.
Who?
Mary Lauren. She's
Mary
the head of our youth program.
Now, tell me about this theater, this AMT theater. So do you have one stage space? Do you have two different spaces? Because I know there's an upstairs. There used to be an upstairs and a downstairs. What's up
No,
there?
we don't own the upstairs yet. There is a church up there that has it for 18 months. And at the end of it, they may renew, they may leave. At that point, we'll figure out whether or not we want to go ahead and take it. It's trouble enough and money enough to do the downstairs, I can tell you that. So, but in 18 months, we may reassess and say, sure, let's grab it. So right now, we only have the ground floor.
You have the ground floor. How many seats is that? It looked about maybe 80, 90, or how many do you have in there?
There's a balcony upstairs, which has another 20. So it's 99.
No, so is that officially an off-Broadway, or are you off, or depending on the contract?
Well, it depends on the contract. We are an off-Broadway theater in that we can have 100 seats in here. And Love Quirks is actually running under an off-Broadway contract. They have tickets at TDF and TKTS and such, which you can't do if you're off. Wow. So right now, it really depends on how many seats you have. We are a little flexible. We can have 100, we can have 99, we can have 98, such like that. So it's it really depends on the contract.
Now take us back. Take us way, way, way back. So Tony, you knew the producer of this program, Dave. I know him very well too. He's kind of an asshole, but you knew him when he was doing a play or having a play done at Madison Avenue Theater.
Yes.
Is that where you first met him?
Yes, that's exactly where I first met him. Madison Avenue Theater used to be a Korean massage parlor on the 4th floor at 33rd and Madison. And it was a huge space for a tiny theater. Such. I remember we got our seats from a bus depot at first. Before we actually had any seats, there were bus seats in the audience. And yes, so I met Dave doing that in that theater, at least one play, maybe two. I don't remember. That was way back in 91, 92.
May have been even the 80s. But yeah, no, it would have been, or certainly the early 90s. Probably a play called King Solomon the Wise. Nothing to do with me. But he did that was a comedy. And then maybe The Sky is Calling. I'm not sure. Or Blind Date. I'll bet they did Blind. Everybody does a blind frickin' date. Do you remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, Blind. I think we did both. I'm trying to remember, but I think we did both. And that was a tiny little 30-seat, 40-seat house at the best on it with the clip lamps and with, back in the 80s and 90s, that was the way off-Broadway theater was done.
But did that give you producing there? Were you the artistic, or what was your?
Yeah, I was the artistic director. Jay Tansey was the producing director. Jay did most of the hard work, like building the set and the lights and the bringing in the seats. And I chose the plays and, most of the actors and directors and such for that.
Now, what did you, it was obviously a learning experience because you were there for a few years. Was it a glorious endeavor, or did you always feel like a weight was on your shoulders having to run this theater with no budget, really?
With no budget at all. We lived on the box office back then. We had no grants, we had no donations, we had no dues from any actors or such. We lived on the box office, which meant that you had to produce a new show every 2 weeks. And while we were doing the new show, we would be rehearsing the next show in the daytime. We made a deal with the local bar, which was Brews at the time, that they would feed us, thank God, if we would bring the cast and crew over to the bar after rehearsals and shows. So
brilliant. Like give them, and they'll give all the money, the little money that they're making, back to the brilliant. Yes.
That's how we survived for, I think it was 3 years or such, that we went on.
That's how long you lasted? I thought it was much longer than that. It was 3 years?
At Madison Avenue? No, I don't think so. I think we went 91 to 94, maybe 95, but I'm not 100% sure.
And what happened after that? You were writing plays. Where did you go after Madison Avenue Theater?
Well, the Workshop Theater on 42nd Street in Dyer was a place that I landed at and started writing plays with, and Jim DeMars and Michelle Bouchard were there. Sam Shack was there at the time. And I started doing 1 or 2 shows there, and I became artistic director of that in 2000, I believe, because I know I was the artistic director during 9/11.
All right, you know what? Like so many questions. What was it like having it? I mean, we can talk about the pandemic, but what was it like having a New York theater over on Dyer? I mean, I was far from Wall Street still, but you know, how did you guys make it through that era in New York?
It was tough. We did not have it. We had a fifth floor walk up. Again, I know, and we had a fifth floor walk up, no elevator. My dad came once. That was it. And we had clip lamps on there. We had basic sound and lights. I mean, really basic stuff, but very tiny stage, very tiny air conditioning, and about 30 seats. But we did show after show after show. Now that did have dues on there, and it was maintained then, but it was so relatively inexpensive. It was so relatively inexpensive that if we were late a month for rent, our managing director, who I believe was Darby Townsend at the time, could write a check for it and not really be hurt too much.
But New York rents have always been insane. How come it was so cheap? It was before Theater Row became Theater Row again, or what? Yeah.
No, it was before Theater Row became Theater Row. The Clurman and the Beckett and the Judith Anderson were there, but we were on the same building with Alice's fourth floor, and the Abington and the Pulse. We're all in that same building. But you know, I say it was inexpensive. It was relatively inexpensive.
Well, theater's always going to be, what was your proudest moment at the Workshop Theater?
Oh God, there's so many of them. We did a show by Alan Nee, which was when I was not artistic director. It was called The Man Who Was Peter Pan, and it was one of the
good play. That's a really good play. Yeah. I'm telling you, it just is. And they turned it into Neverland, the music, but the play itself was really good.
Really good play.
Yeah, it was a play ahead of time, and then they turned it into Finding Neverland, the movie, which was, with Johnny Depp, I believe, and so on, and Kate Winslet, maybe. But yeah, they turned that into that, which was done by a couple of workshop members, Tracy Becker, and Nellie Bellflower were producers of that. They were workshop members. They took the show from there and produced it in Hollywood. So that was great. But I tell you the truth, we knew early on that we had to leave that fifth floor death trap and move to a bigger space. So we did, and this was the luck that we had. We found the space on 36th Street, which was 36th Street in between 8th and 9th, 312, where the Abington eventually went, where the Barrow Group eventually went, where the chain is now. We found that space first. We were the first ones to move in. And in order to pay for the rent, because we did not have that kind of rent, that was a huge increase from where we were on 42nd Street, we had a benefit. And our benefit, I kid you not, was like October 1st, 2001.
It was a month after.
A month after 9/11. And I mean, people were just not in the mood to give to theater, understandably. So it was hard, but we got enough of it.
Well, can I ask you, since finding
to make the down payment and to move in?
Yeah.
What's that?
Can I ask you, since Finding Neverland took off from Workshop Theater, you guys did it first. When it became a movie, did suddenly you get $1 million because you were there first, or it didn't work like that?
No, it didn't work like that at all. No. Nellie and Tracy optioned the play separate from us totally. They used their own money, and they did that, so they deserved all the credit and all the the kudos that came along with that. I did get to see a preview of it though before anybody else came out, so that was.
Boy, yeah. Who needs a big $1 million check for a theater that's struggling? I'd rather just get to walk a red carpet for a night. That's so much better. Let me tell. So after so ultimately though, the Workshop Theater that was around for a few years. And
they were around 25 years. They're still around. They're mostly.
But you're not. Why did you leave Workshop?
Well, because why did I leave Workshop Theater? We had moved into the new space, and we had two spaces, and we had a large space, we had a small space, And, I think that there was so much work being done as artistic director, I really didn't have time to focus on a lot of my own stuff. So once it was in good hands, and it was in really good hands when I left, Tim Harris was there, and Elisa Martin, and so on, David Pincus. A bunch of really competent people were there to take it over and to move on. Riley Jones Cohen was there, the managing director, and she was really the person who got us in there. So they were well set, and I wanted to go ahead and try to expand a little bit more on my own front.
Now, here's the deal: you run, fingers to the knuckle. You run Madison Avenue. You run the workshop, and then when Al Tapper came to you and said,
Yes.
"No, I'm thinking of buying a theater," did you have to pause? Did you pause and say, "I've been there, done that," or did you jump?
The first. Yeah. What had happened is we had a theater, the Algonquin Theater, at 2008. Al purchased leased the theater, which was the old Blue Heron Theater.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. So we had that for about 2 or 3 years. And I mean, that was a massive undertaking. The rent was, I don't even want to know, it was like 25,000 a month. It was 5,000 a month in electricity because you had 2 floors you had to rent. It was just huge. And that was a day in, day out operation. And it was on 24th Street in Park. Now, cut to 15 years later, I'm 15 years older, and I was no spring chicken back then. All of a sudden, Al's like, look, we really need to, because we had been producing our own shows, but renting space, Peter J. Sharp and Daryl Roth and such like that. We had been doing that. And he's like, why are we doing this? Let's get a home and put it together. So the space we found was the old Ken Davenport Theater, Primary Stages, which is a block and a half away from my house.
Well, that's come on, yeah. Although, are there days when you wish it weren't?
Well, not yet. I need to be here day in and day out. There will be days in about 6 months, 8 months from now where I may wish I was further away and not the only person to call. And I'm not. It's funny enough, Tamara Flanagan, who is basically the technical director and does everything here when it comes to any kind of work on there. She also lives in the same building. So the two of us are within a stone's throw away if something is needed.
Which is going to be almost every day.
Exactly, which is every day.
Now, are you mainly a producing house or a rental space or a mix of both, or what's the deal?
Mix of both.
I don't know why I'm asking that, but I'm just curious.
Mix of both. We are Love Quirks is a rental coming in. Shrek Jr. is our own show. We are producing a musical review cabaret type of thing called An Unbalanced Mind.
Well, that's Al Tapper's own stuff. That's his songwriting for years. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's really a series of songs, very nice, lovely songs, by 4 very talented actors and a little narrator. And it's really, the little bit I've heard is terrific. My wife, Kelly McGuire, is directing it. I need to point that out. And David Wolfson is doing the musical director. And we've been with both of them since 2008, really. I've been with Kelly longer, but David since 2008, 2009.
Well, again, still so many questions. I want to hear about your wife, and you have a little kid, and there's a mazel tov. But the other thing is, okay, so you've got this theater with 9,900 seats. Boom. Yep. Okay, renting, whatever. How? I know Al Tapper's a rich guy. He's been on this program. But is it not for profit? Is it for profit? Are you grant writing? How do you make a show pay off? Just to get in the black, let alone make a profit.
Right. Well, there's 2 things. One is making a show pay off, and one is making the theater pay off. We have 2. Sorry, we have 2 goals. Yes. Oh, there's all kinds of sawdust in there. We have 2 goals basically at AMT. One is that we want to be a springboard for shows that are going to move on to a higher level, like Broadway, off-Broadway. So you start out here relatively inexpensive, comparatively inexpensive, to see whether or not your show works. And if it does, then great. You get the producers, you get the money, you move on to the next level. If you don't, then you haven't, usually you haven't bankrupt yourself on that. So that's one of the functions of AMT. But the second one, which is more an answer to your question here, is that we really want to become a neighborhood theater, a community theater, if you will, in the heart of Manhattan. And one of the reasons why I went to see Kelly performing in Honky Tonk Angels in Mobile, Alabama at the Alabama Shakespeare Festival. 700 seats, gorgeous. But the big thing about it is, as soon as the audience sat down and looked at their program, they were smiling. They were like, they wanted to be there. They were like happy to come in, as opposed to New York audiences, which is not always the case sometimes. You know, New York audiences come in and say, you know, I'm paying a lot of money for this. I just spent $100 on my dinner. You know, you better give me something good.
So basically, you want your audiences to love crap. No, I'm kidding.
No. Well, we want, you know, we are focused on, not that we won't take audiences from elsewhere, but we are focused on 41st Street to 51st Street from here to the river. There are 1,000 people, hundreds of thousands.
More than 1,000. Got to be more than that. That's only 10 nights, right? Yeah.
We've got Silver Towers, which is 2 75-floor buildings on 11th and 42nd. We've got the Strand, we've got MEMA, we've got the Pod, we've got Manhattan Plaza. There's literally hundreds of thousands of people in this area who we want to be. We want this to be their community theater. We want to involve them in readings. We want to involve them in selections. We want to get them involved in children's theater. You know, to do this type of stuff, because I want to have that same kind of feeling when audiences come to AMT that they had in Alabama. I want people to come in and just, oh, you know, this is my place.
But that doesn't remotely answer the question about financing. And it's, you know, they walk in, well, there's a free reading. Okay, I'll go. You know, there's schnapps. Yeah.
Well, I mean, my hope is that we are going to be doing shows enough to get them involved to come and see them, come and pay in terms of that, but also donations, fundraisers, that type of stuff. You know, as long as we keep it focused. New York is like this. What is it? 8 million people.
Like that.
You can't.
And that's one apartment in Spanish Harlem. They just keep going. Yeah, it's like a clown car. It's amazing. Let me ask you, Tony Sportiello, you are the artistic director of the AMT Theater in Midtown Manhattan between 8th and 9th on West 45th Street. Let me ask you, if you could go back to Tony Sportiello, age 20, when you were first starting, what would you tell yourself now that you wish you had known then?
That is an excellent question. It is not like I've ever really regretted anything that we've done. I like to think I'm smarter now in terms of how to get audiences and to get shows on up and how to choose directors and actors and pick your spaces and such. Probably I would have, well, here's an option. Maybe instead of trying to do my own thing, which is what I tried to do with Madison Avenue and the workshop and such, maybe I would have tried to join Circle Rep or tried to join Second Stage or try Playwrights Horizons. Maybe, you know, to get involved in a larger space where you had more resources and I wasn't doing all of the work. Not that I did all the work in any of those spaces, but you know,
the crown was a big crown. I mean, it was sort of like, you know, the toilet needs cleaning. Oh, I got to call donors. Oh, and it's all in 1 hour. You know, it's kind of like suddenly, like, man, it's a lot. I get that.
Maybe.
Can I ask you? Oh, sorry. Continue. Yes.
No, but I'm going to tell you, I'll be totally honest. I've never been that ambitious when it comes to my own plays reaching Broadway or Hollywood or whatever. Care less on that. I would much rather see 50 people in an off-Broadway house that are loving a play, whether it's mine or not. And most of them are not mine. But man, we have done some great shows over at the workshop, especially Skin Deep by John Lawnoff and Levy Lee Simon and Ken Javi and Scott Sickles and a whole bunch of other great writers, Liz Amberley and such, where you basically, the audience comes in, they go in and they see the show and they love it. They're out talking about it afterward. I mean, that's really the thing. And if I could go back 20 years, maybe I'll do more of that. Maybe I'll start earlier and just do that, because that's really what it's all about for me, is having that feeling from the audience of seeing a great show and being satisfied.
Well, being a little modest, because you have had that kind of success with at least one of the shows that you've I remember seeing a pretty good play of yours called Tickets Please. That was cute. Years and years ago off Broadway. But your most quote unquote audience successful show is something called National Pastime, which has played in New York, but it's playing all over the country. And you're like, you're a celebrity in Mexico, but for some
Yes.
reason, what is it about you in Mexico in that play?
Oh, well, Mexico, that was a tremendous experience and still is. We just did a reading last Thursday with a young writer in Mexico. We're developing a script with her with AMT. And we're going to do a little cross-cultural experience here where we have American actors and Mexican actors, and we're trying to do a reading here.
This is genius. And now you play good, bad, whatever. If you get them across the border with drugs up their ass, you have the money to run the theater for 10 years. A couple of bags of cocaine and a cooch and a cookies, you bring them over the border, and there you have your theater. This is fantastic. Let me tell you. But going back to the AMT, which you happen to be in as we speak. So you had it as the 45th, which was essentially a rental house for all these years. Then you had Ken Davenport come in, who has had money in Broadway shows, Broadway hits, Broadway flops. He had one, the Jimmy Buffett musical that crashed. But what do you guys know about theater producing and running a theater that Ken Davenport didn't, or else he'd still be running the place?
Yeah. I mean, I never met Ken. I don't know what he did. Maybe he was too involved with Broadway and running this, because it's hard to do both. It's hard to do either. So if he was producing Broadway and running this theater, which I don't know that he was, maybe it was on somebody else, that would be a challenge. That would be a tremendous challenge. And the economics of running this space is daunting enough. Al's money is going to get it built and such, but after that, we have to make it pay. We have to make it pay through rentals. We have to make it pay through fundraising, through children's theater, through donations.
Are you going to do classes? Because that's the only way theaters. Are you going to give like improv classes and classes for children, and make it and bring educational shit into the schools? Oh, they love that. That's just thousands of dollars, but do it.
Well, that's a great idea. Thank you for giving me that. But
that went 10%. So there you go. So yes, but you're welcome.
We are doing children's theater in August. Mary, who's directing Shrek, is going to be directing a children's program for 2 weeks in August. We are in January. We're very excited about this. We have one of the Tamara Flanagan's husband, Steve, is one of the foremost teachers of Meisner throughout the world. And in fact, I think he's in Portugal at the moment. He spends half the year in places like, Europe and Asia and Africa, whatever, teaching Meisner all around the world. He's very successful. So in January, we'll be doing that, having it here in New York.
No, they're teaching Meisner, and actually, you really shouldn't be teaching. Meisner should be teaching him, because Meisner knows a lot more at that point.
He has 5 things listed as shows.
Well, yeah, those are performances that they're doing. But let me ask you, we have a couple more minutes before the quiz begins and we get our other people in here with Dave. But Tony, having done years and years of theater, producing years and artistic directing, we always ask comedians what their hell gigs were. What are like the hell nights that you've experienced producing nickel and dime theater for like 3-4 decades?
Well, I mean, without naming names, because celebrities are involved in this particular thing, which is never my choice on this. But there was this one point back about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, where we were producing a play of Richard Bachman's over at the Neighborhood Playhouse. Beautiful, lovely, lovely theater here. It was a play about a psychiatrist with 2 women, and the 2 women were separate parts of one woman. Okay, there was his patient.
So one was the vagina, one was the boobs, or no?
One woman was like really withdrawn, and the other woman was really outgoing. But they were the same woman,
Okay.
Anyway, long stories. But 10 days before we were supposed to open, the actress who was playing the subdued woman says, "Look, I'm getting nightmares by this part. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I'm dropping out." The woman who was playing the other one, the wild one, was a friend of hers. She brought in, and she said, "Well, if she's not here, I'm leaving too."
Oh, no.
the psychiatrist, who's no idiot, said, well, if they're leaving, I'm out of here too.
So you had to recast 10 days before
10 days before we opened, and we did. And we did it, and I believe Michael Mislov actually stepped in, who was Nellie Bellflower's husband and also helped with Finding Neverland. I believe he was one of the ones who stepped in, and but it was literally, it was round the clock, 24/7, different costumes, different lighting, different props, rehearsal, learning the lines. It was just nuts. But it went up, and it went great.
That's pulling victory from the jaws of disaster, honestly. You know, Mazel Tov. It's like all these shows during COVID that couldn't. But what about, you know, nights like when an audience member died, or a roof fell in, or something like, or hysterically, ridiculously funny, or you know, you're not going to believe this happened when.
Well, I imagine that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, couple of months. I think the worst is yet to come, actually, in terms of that. I mean, we've had times where we've had to close because a cast member got sick or such, or we got snowed under. We had a fundraiser once. We had a fundraiser for Madison Avenue Theater, and as I told you, we didn't have a lot of money at Madison Avenue Theater. We lived strictly on the box office. We had a fundraiser coming up. It was our biggest event of the entire decade, and all these people were supposed to come, and it snowed like 15 inches.
I'll tell you this. This happened to friends of Dave. Dave was involved in a theater company on Long Island called The Other Vic. I don't know if you ever heard of it. The Other Vic Theater Company. And they were itinerant. They would play in libraries. They would play in community centers. They would go in a van all across Long Island. And then they finally got themselves a house, a community place to play. They bought a place. And they were going to have their big opening night in this place out in Patchogue or wherever the hell it was. And that day, just a foot and a half, and they just the $10,000 gone. Immediately, nobody came, nothing happened, and they were out of that theater in like 3 months. It was just, it's the luck of the damn draw.
It is.
But we are very, very lucky to have with us Tony Sportiello of the AMT Theater. AMT standing for Al Moishe.
Something Tapper.
What, man?
Al something Tapper. Michael, I think.
You don't even know the guy. You've been working with him for 25 years. You don't even know his name.
No idea. I just found out he had 2 daughters, and he'd been married. You know, literally 25. Well, since 2003.
Well, mazel to him, mazel to you. I mean, maybe Dave will ask you about your family. He doesn't really care, but he'll ask it to be nice.
The cute baby. We see the cute baby.
Yeah, we see the cute baby on Facebook all the time. It's adorable.
It's his grandbaby.
What is that?
Yeah.
That's your baby?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, there goes my shot of ever having a show done at the fucking AMT. Thank you. All right.
Tony, I'm old enough to have grandbabies, so you
Oh,
know.
I have a gorgeous grandbaby, and you know, 2 beautiful kids, and you know, Kelly is working and directing. As I said, she's directing Al's show, and when she's not going to do that, she's going to do the cabaret here. So yeah, I'm very lucky.
Well, we are very lucky to have Tony Sportiello with us in the neighborhood. Tony, don't go away. Thank you very, very much for talking with us.
You're a lovely man, Tony.
You are a lovely man. You are absolutely. We love. Why I would kiss your shoes. I would kiss your knees. And we'll talk about when we bring Shalom Damn It to AMT. We'll talk. But for now, let me bring Dave Lefkowitz, back into the neighborhood to take you through the quiz with Leslie Hoban, Blake, and David Sheward. Let me play a little bit of a klezmer music to do this transition. And thank you so much, Tony. Don't go away. Oh, let's play some music. Ladies and gentlemen, it's me, Dave Lefkowitz, the host and producer of Dave's Gone By, here with the one, the only David Sheward, former president of the Drama Desk, former managing editor of Backstage, and current theater critic for TheaterLife.com, CulturalDaily.com, as well as his own blog, The David Desk. Good morning, David Sheward. Say hello to someone I'm sure you have met and certainly have seen plays produced by Tony Sportiello. How you guys doing?
Good morning. Good morning,
Hey,
Tony.
Guys. How are you?
Well, that was exciting. Okay, so that's great, great, great.
Are you in some sort of science fiction? Tony looks like he's in sort of a science fiction-y kind of weird place
Yeah.
with wires and everything.
I'll tell you the truth about this is that we have a circuit breaker board, or Davenport had a circuit breaker board of about 32 circuit breakers was what he needed to run this theater. We need 86.
Oh,
Okay, for the lights and the sound. So all of this is going away, and it's got to be made more. There's got to be like another 4 circuit breaker panels.
what theater are you in?
AMT Theater at 45th.
Oh,
Brand new.
His own theater.
Remember the Davenport Theater, David, on West 45th, the Davenport.
Primary
so,
Theater.
Yeah.
Oh, which used to be
45th Street Theater.
it used to be called something else.
Yeah, the 45th.
45th Street Theater and Primary Stages.
That's where Primary Stages was, right?
Yeah.
And where they did Around the World in 80 Days and Daddy
Yep.
Longlegs and all that.
Pure Madness.
Right.
So yeah, so now that is owned by a guy named Al Tapper, or part of it is owned by Al Tapper, and the artistic director is Tony Sportiello, who is now on our show and was a wonderful guest. So, David, how was your week?
It was kind of hectic. It's next to the last week. There are only 2 days left of school where I'm teaching. Yesterday we had a big shock in the middle of the day with the Supreme Court decision.
Yeah.
And that sort of.
Were you able to go there? I mean, you're a teacher, but you're not college. Is it high school that you're teaching?
It's a high school.
So were you able to even broach that? Or
what do you mean? Well, there were no classes. Friday was just a day for teachers to clean up because the regents are over.
Right.
It was graduation day for the seniors, and it was basically just a day where we were supposed to finish up work and the grades are submitted and all that's done. And I was just cleaning stuff up. So I was sitting doing work and looking online, and then the thing popped up in the middle of the day.
Yeah, and I imagine 99% of the teachers were like, I can't, I want to leave it to now.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't, everybody was, we were in the middle of doing, schoolwork and so forth. But people expressed, surprise
and rage.
Yes, but I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I mean, I knew this was going to happen, and I knew that Kavanaugh was lying to Susan Collins, and I knew that Amy Coney Barrett was lying when she said, "Oh, Roe is settled law." She was lying. She's a liar.
Yeah,
and so is Kavanaugh.
And do something about it. What can we do except wish these people like horrible cancer? Which I do.
We vote in the midterms to show our displeasure, and we don't allow the Republicans to have a majority.
If only. This is the one place where the Republicans shot themselves in the foot because they were going to sweep the midterms because of how horrible things are,
and they still may. Most people may. In certain states, it may be, I care more about gas prices than a woman's right to choose. I don't care that,
a woman's right to choose does not power my Toyota RAV4. So I understand that.
That's what some people may think. And
I tried stuffing dead fetuses into the exhaust pipe. It doesn't work.
I wasn't going to go there, but
I go there. I go there.
And
I go there. That's right.
And they're going to come after. And Clarence Thomas, the biggest hypocrite in the world, has said that we're going to come after gay marriage. We're going to come after contraception. We're going to come after
Please, God, give this man sickle cell anemia. Please.
Well,
careful you won't go there. Okay, well, you're a teacher. You can't.
Careful of karma.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to get. You're not going to get sickle cell anemia. No, he's not going to. But anyway, let's. I was going to save all my anger for after this, but and Leslie's not even here yet. Yeah. And also Tony does have to scoot, but Leslie's not here. So let me read the rules. Now, Tony, you've watched the show. You kind of know what the rules are, don't you? Or do
I had before my schedule changed. I used to watch it every Saturday, but yes, so I'm good.
Oh, great.
So he knows that it's 2 points per question. If you miss it, the other contestant, possibly contestants, get to try and steal the question. We try and keep it random and how we get the questions, and that each question is connected to something that happened on this date in history. Today is June 25th, so all these questions are things that happened on June 25th. The one thing I will ask you to do, new friend of the neighborhood, Tony Sportiello, is think of a number, please, between 1 and 6, and tell me what it is.
4.
Was it, you say 4?
4, 4, 4.
Yeah.
4. Not a lot of people choose 4. That's interesting. And David Sheward, your choice?
I'm going to pick 3 again.
David, of course, with a 3. What I'm going to do, Tony, is roll a digital die, and it came up a 3. David Sheward, do you want to go first or second or potentially?
Now, are we waiting for
Leslie
Leslie? Are we waiting for Leslie, or is she not joining us?
Leslie, suppose there's no reason.
Okay, all right. I'll go with first.
Go, David Sheward first, and Tony, would you, if Leslie comes in time, do you want second or third?
Second.
Second. So no matter what, you're second, and Leslie is going to be in third, because we can start the game, and then when Leslie joins, she joins, and I'm hoping that she will. So, David Sheward, this is the yesterday quiz for June 25th, 2022. Are you ready for your first multiple choice question?
Yes.
The year was 1580. Published today in Dresden is the Book of Concord, which lays out the tenets of Lutheranism. This Concordia is broken into 10 sections. Which of these is not one of them? A, Savior. B, the Apology of the Augsburg Confession. C, the Small Catechism of Martin Luther. D, the Large Catechism of Martin Luther.
So you're asking me, this is some Lutheran stuff, and
these are chapters in the Lutheran Concordia. I can't say the damn word. Lutheran Concordia. One of these, though, is not a chapter in the Lutheran.
Did Martin Luther write this?
I'm sorry. What?
Did Martin Luther write this?
No. This is the book of. Maybe he did, but it's the Book of Concord.
All right.
Post him. 15. When was Luther?
It was like 15.
Oh, maybe it was him.
Well, late 15th century, early 16th century, because it was around the same time as Henry VIII.
Oh, I wouldn't have known that. So good. You're ahead of me on this. Who wrote the Concordia? I don't know. All
right. So it's which one of these is not in the Concordia? It's funny because I did go to Lutheran church a few times when I was a kid.
Oh.
When my parents forced me, but I don't think Luther ever apologized for anything. So I'm going to go with the Apology.
You're saying that is not a real chapter, that is not in the Concordia.
Yeah, I'll go along with that.
Well, I apologize to you, David Sheward, but I'm afraid that is not correct. And by the way, fair enough to say it was not written by Martin Luther. It was taken from his teaching.
Okay.
But no, that is a chapter in there. Oh, Leslie's trying to log on. But while she's doing that, Tony, you get to steal, or try to steal, this question.
Great. Can I get the categories again? Or the?
Of course. The Concordia is broken into 10 sections. Which of these is not one of them? A, Savior. C, the Small Catechism of Martin Luther. D, the Large Catechism of Martin Luther.
I would have gone with Apology too, but I'm going to say the large category of Martin Luther.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Well, category or not, it's the Apology is just not big enough. It's not, or the Catechism is not big enough. That is not the correct answer. And Leslie was trying to log on. She was not able to. So
yeah, it says not. Her text message says not launching or something.
Well, so what we're going to do is, I'm afraid I'm going to have to keep this category as a 0.
Okay. What's the correct answer?
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, it's A. Savior. Savior is actually a chapter in the autobiography of Malcolm X, but not in the Concordia of Martin Luther. So, all right, here we go. Moving away from that question, but now, Tony,
yes,
you can put 2 points on the board if you get this multiple choice question correct. Are you ready?
Ready.
The year was 1607.
I was born.
It's a tough day for Emperor Rudolph II, who signs a treaty giving up Austria, Hungary, and Moravia to his brother Matthias. Subject to fits of depression and not exactly being a people person, Rudolph was not the strongest emperor, but he was a major proponent and collector of the arts. His favorite paintings were in a style called mannerism. Which of these best describes that type of art?
Okay.
A, the subject and the background are more unified rather than one setting off the other. B, it's like classical art but with exaggerated style and proportions. C, the goals are streamlined techniques and stylistic simplicity. Or D, the proportions of subjects are precise because they're based on mathematical formulas.
Okay. Anything I know about this subject, I learned because my kid just went through 5th, 6th, and 7th grade. So we had that. I mean, it's amazing to go back and relearn 50 years later. I don't know. So I am going to say C because that sounds like what it should be.
So you're saying C, mannerism, the goals are streamlined techniques and stylistic simplicity.
Yes.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, if it's right.
Well, let's keep this simple, Tony. You're wrong. So we have a steal opportunity for David Sheward.
All right. So what was Tony's choice?
Tony had said it was C, the goals are streamlined techniques and stylistic simplicity. And by the way, Tony, do you have a pen and paper handy? Not this moment, but for the...
somewhere.
So, okay. If you need
all right. So our choices are unified, stylized, or mathematical.
Wow, I love how you boiled that down to one word, but essentially, yes.
All right. We've had A. A was the last answer, and you rarely do two in a row. So it's stylized or mathematical. Now, this is mannerism. Is that what you're saying?
Mannerism, yeah.
Mannerism. And that could mean anything. It sounds like it would be stylized. So it's probably mathematical. So I'll say precise and mathematical. D.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
You're so delighted to be here. David Sheward. Well, David, do the math, and the numbers don't necessarily add up. That is not correct, I'm afraid. Whoa. Now, Leslie is trying one more time to join. I'm going to give her and she's not. So this may be another 0 here. Otherwise, I'd give the question to her.
Okay.
But do you see her? No, I don't see her. I'm going to give 3, 2, 1, and then just give you guys the answer. Oh, okay. 3, 2, 1. Mannerism, like when something is mannered.
Yeah.
If you think about that, it's very, they're doing stuff to it. It's very stylized, and it's kind of exaggerated proportions. You know the guys with the vegetable faces in art, like they make a face and then the big bulbous poke's head is a cabbage, and his ear is another vegetable, and they make the nose out of a carrot. That was a mannerist painting. So they really did. They took things and exaggerated them, got really florid and stylized, and Rudolph II really loved that. And
I get it.
Collection of it. So cool.
Okay.
Guys, I am so sorry. I have got to cut out. I've got electricians here who are going to tackle this sucker, and they just need me to move and to get out of here.
Oh, wow. Can you go somewhere else?
No, they need me. I've got to show them.
Tony Sportiello, thank you for being with us. AMT Theater is on West 45th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue. Go see Love Quirks by Seth Beeson Hirsch. Go see An Unbalanced Mind and Shrek Jr. and all the other stuff you're doing.
Thank you so much. I'm so sorry. I thought they were coming at 10:30.
I know how you can make it up to me, and we'll talk.
And here's Leslie.
Oh, great. Tony, thank you.
Bye.
While Tony's leaving, unfortunately, Leslie Hobang Blake is trying to come in. Best laid plans.
So mannered is so the correct answer was
on that one was B. B was correct.
So we got A.
Hello, Leslie.
Hello.
Hi.
Glad you
I
came.
I don't know. I got everything working right this morning, and it still didn't work. So what the hell? I don't know.
Well, I
Well, it
love
looks
the
good.
framing. You look great, and then the framing looks great. So that's
Yes,
God
it looks
bless you.
good.
Thank you. Okay.
Now it's
Happy to
perfect
hear that.
timing though, Leslie, because you just I mean, alas,
It's
even
my
though-
question, is it? Okay.
Yes.
Well, not only that, we lost Tony because Tony Sportiello, who was joining us, he had like electricians at the theater who need him, so he has to leave us in the middle of the quiz. But that's okay.
Oh.
It's just going to be you and David bouncing off each other.
Yes,
back
yes.
and forth.
Okay, David. Good. That's nice. That'll be fun.
And it's a tie game. There's nobody has any points yet, so this is like literally starting from
Okay.
ground zero. So welcome, Leslie. Leslie, how are you feeling? You look great. How's your week? I know we're all incredibly angry, but how are you?
I'm incredibly angry. That's how I am. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Just incredibly angry.
So, all right. Well, I hope you'll be
But not
about this
surprised.
question. What?
Say what?
But not surprised.
No, and then reading what Clarence Thomas had to say. I mean, it's interesting that he left out interracial marriage from his
Yes.
list of things he wanted to get rid of.
That's right. Well, with Clarence Thomas, whoever's married to him, it's an interspecies marriage, I think. You know.
Well, you've seen her. She is.
And she's a traitor.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. If only she were a slave trader and she could trade him back. But anyway, moving forward. Leslie,
Even with Clarence Thomas, I wouldn't go that
Oh,
far.
I would go. Oh, I go. You know, I told you.
I know you do. I know you do.
Yeah,
You
I know I do.
do.
Leslie, and you know, it's not like I love Samuel Alito either, or Amy Coney Barrett, or who are the other two?
You know the one I love though is Susan Collins. Who
Kavanaugh.
says, I'm sorry?
No, Kavanaugh is the other justice.
Kavanaugh, thank you, man. Yeah.
You know, but I love Susan Collins saying, I'm so surprised that they would have lied to me. I'm like, what the fuck, lady? What's
No, I knew from the get-go. That's what they wanted to do.
Of course. We all knew.
I don't know how we all know things from the get-go, because they're little creatures that slide around the Bahamas and Arizona.
And they
those
sell
are-
insurance.
Yeah, they do.
Very
Yeah,
funny.
they're very good.
And they've
Okay.
got British accents and they sell insurance.
Exactly.
Now,
So
Leslie,
is this my question now that we're off?
Yes. Yeah.
yes, actually, it would have been your question.
Thank you for letting me vet a little bit.
Oh, please, I'm.
You know, I don't know Tony, but I knew his partner, Al Tapper.
Well, Al Tapper's the guy who bought the theater.
I understand that. But Al Tapper came to when I was at the Blue Heron. Al Tapper was shopping around some stuff, and he's been around for a very long time.
Yeah, he's not that old a guy. You make it sound like he was like
No,
97.
I don't mean that, but I mean he's been actively trying to get his stuff done. So I guess that this is the way you do it. If you have deep pockets, you buy a theater. You know.
Yeah, and they want to do other stuff with the theater, and they are doing other stuff with the theater as well.
No, I know. Okay.
No. Hey, if I owned the theater, it would be 24/7 Rabbi. Well, 24/6 Rabbi Sol and one day for me, and then maybe a couple of other people.
I thought on the seventh day you would rest.
I never rest, never. So Leslie, no rest for the wicked. Let's do your question here on Today Yesterday for
Okay,
June
give me my
25th.
question.
It's a multiple choice. On this date in 1678, poet and I don't know it, it's a great day for Venetian philosopher and scholar Elena Comaro Piscopia. The University of Padua grants her a doctorate of philosophy, probably the first ever PhD granted to a woman. Which of these is false about Padua, or Padova, as the Italians call it?
Padua.
A. Galileo.
Other than I've come to wive it wealthily in Padua, I
Yeah.
know nothing about Padua.
Well, Kate wouldn't kiss me, so I don't care. A. Galileo once taught at the University of Padua. Every year, what the hell was that? Every year, Padua holds a festival dedicated to St. Anthony's tongue.
Oh God.
C. Padua has a whole museum dedicated to shellfish, but because they don't have fish, they're not allowed to call it an aquarium. Or D. Even though this is Italy and not Poland, every day at noon, the astronomical clock on the Piazza dei Signori has both hands pointing straight down, not up.
And the reason for that is what?
One of these is false. All the others are true.
Yeah, those are true.
Is this the question you've already answered, or
No.
No.
Brand new.
It's not any-
Brand new.
Yeah, your question directly.
okay? Well, that's interesting. I want to know the reason for the clock hands facing down.
If it's true.
Why?
If it's true, I see. Okay, if it's true. Okay. If indeed you are the
I believe we were there.
I'm going to say that Galileo once taught at the university. Oh, wait. What's false? Whoa.
What is false, Liz?
I got it. Yeah, I know. The other false. I get myself into such a state in my head.
I get myself into New Jersey usually if I'm looking for states.
Shellfish is false.
Which is false? I'm sorry.
Shellfish. C.
See, so it's not true that Padua has a whole museum dedicated to shellfish because they don't have it. They can call it aquarium. Is that your final answer?
Yes.
Well, things are certainly going swimmingly for you, Leslie Hoban Blake. That is the correct answer. Well done. Look, you show up late and you get on the board before anybody else. Well done, Les.
Very good.
Right.
Now,
what was David's question? I want to know David's question.
It was something about Martin Luther.
Something. About the chapters in the Lutheran Concordia. And also there was another one about Austria and Emperor Rudolph. But let me give you some facts and factoids about Padua in Italy. First of all, they don't have a shellfish museum there. They do have an insect museum in Padua. And there is a shellfish museum in Hokkaido, Japan. So go figure. Now, this is kind of cool. By the way, it's funny, nobody's talking about the tongue thing. Allegedly, as all these religious things are, after he had been dead for 30 years, in the year 1263, St. Anthony was exhumed, and they looked at the corpse, and apparently the tongue was still wet and in amazing condition.
Ooh.
So they saved the tongue and his jawbone, and they preserved it, and they are on display at the Basilica of St. Anthony.
Oh, interesting.
Are they still wet?
Well, only if they're turned on. But but Leslie, also, your answer to the question, maybe you can guess. It is true about the clock. Why do the hands point down at noon?
Gravity?
No.
Something to do with the devil?
No. No, it's much more logical than that. It's actually very cool, but confusing if you're a normal person with a watch.
If you're standing up in the church, that's how you would see it?
Brilliant, but no. But let's say you were looking at it and you were in the Navy or the Army or the Marines or something. It would make perfect sense.
You want to salute it?
Oh, no. because noon is actually the other way around. It's a 24-hour clock.
You got it. It's a 24-hour clock. So 12 is down here and 24 is up here. So noon, the hands point down. I told you it's somehow Poland made its way into Padua. But
so at midnight, they're both up?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, aren't we all? Let's face it. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
2 points to Leslie Hoban Blake, by the way, on that question. So our next question goes to you, David Sheward. So here's the deal. And guess what kind of question it is?
Clues in the news.
Yes, it is. It's the 3 clues in the news. Are you
ready? Does he get a point for guessing what kind of question it is?
He gets a quarter point, Dr. Sue. Yes, he does. Here we go. All right. These 3 words are connected to another word we're thinking of.
Okay.
But the words are not connected to each other.
They know all too well.
And it has to do with something in the news.
All right.
Well, excuse me. The clues are nation, voices, on.
Nation, voices, on.
Yes.
Okay, now, did you have time to do something about row? And maybe the next one would be row. Okay, let's see. Nation, voices on. Turn on, right voices, right on, right voices. Choir, nation. I would say right, but I don't think that's it because right only fits on. Time, nation, rhythm nation? On point? Point nation, face the nation. This is a tough one. And what happened? Did someone die? Nation? I don't, you're right. It either comes or it doesn't. And that's what you said last night. I'm gonna say rhythm. It's probably not, but I'll say rhythm.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Sorry, I got into a rhythm there. But I'm afraid your rhythm method is not working, as most Catholics are going to find out. So,
right.
Leslie Horvath, what is your answer?
Yeah, that'll learn him. That'll teach him. Wow.
The words are nation, voices, on.
I've been sitting here thinking I can't come up with anything. None's on the run in Chicago. I don't know.
Is that, well, final answer? Or...
Yeah, I have no idea. It didn't come.
All right, we'll give a clue. Nobody gets any points on this one, but it's a New York specific story.
New York. Oh, guns?
Yeah, with Gun Nation, on gun. I mean, that doesn't. I did that already.
The word isn't gun, but
violence. Gun Nation, voices.
Oh, carry. The word is carry.
Oh, carry. Oh, carry.
Carry voices, carry, and carry nation.
Yeah, thank you for the clue. The clue made sense. Okay.
That's a stretch.
That was a stretch. Well,
voices carry.
Yes, it's a famous.
Yes,
rock
voices
song.
carry.
What's that? What famous what? What?
Well,
voices. When you sing, your voices carry.
I know that, but it's not something that is like. It's not like
there was a huge MTV hit song.
David is in love with the singer.
There we go. There we go. Just bring that up every time.
There's a song called "Voice." Okay, that
Yeah.
I didn't. I'm not familiar with it. Okay.
I don't know that either.
It was a great. Anyway, next question. Oh boy, here we go.
Okay.
This one goes directly to see with the third person gone. Now I gotta keep tabs.
I believe it's Leslie.
It's me. It goes to me.
Directly to you.
To me.
Goes
Me.
to Carrie Nation.
Me. Leslie. Multiple choice. Speaking of music here, indirectly, the year was 1876.
Jesus.
At the Battle of Little Bighorn, General George Armstrong Custer has his famous last stand. And he fails, he falls, killed and defeated by several tribes led by Lakota chiefs Gall and Crazy Horse. Speaking of Crazy Horse, which of these is not an album that Neil Young made with his backing band, Crazy Horse? A, Psychedelic Pill. B, Life. C, Colorado.
What was that? Wait, what was B? I didn't hear it.
I'll read them again. Which of these is not an album Neil Young made with Crazy Horse? A, Psychedelic Pill. B, Life. C, Colorado. Or D, Night Ride Home.
Psychedelic Pill.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Well, I'm afraid you overdosed on that question. That is not the correct answer, Leslie O'Van Blake. David, you've got 3 out of 4 chances here.
I'll bet it's really Colorado, and you pronounce it Colorado.
Because I lived there for 8 years, but okay, yeah.
Is that how they say it there?
Yeah. I mean, that's the real Colorado way. So that's why I bounce back and forth of how I pronounce it.
Oh, all right. So, that's interesting. So maybe you just stuck that in there because you lived there. I'm not familiar with Neil Young at all. I just know, wasn't Wild Horses something the Osmond Brothers did a cover of at one point? That was Wild Horses, not Crazy Horse, I think.
Wait, did the Osmonds did a cover of the Rolling Stones' Wild Horses? Please
something with horses in it, yes.
Okay, all right. Nay.
Right. Oh God. Okay, it's just a guess. I'll say Colorado.
Is that your
Colorado?
Colorado.
Yes.
Well, your answer was not good, though. It was Colorado. No, the answer was the non-Neil Young. It's not even a Neil Young album. Night Ride Home was a 1991 album by Joni Mitchell. So.
Oh, this is really interesting. We've had A, B, C, D.
Ooh! I didn't even realize I was doing that. So, yay.
Okay.
Not that I want to stump you guys, and Leslie does have 2 points, so she is still currently winning our quiz. But we've got more questions, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
How we'll do the maybe we just won't call the tiebreaker a tiebreaker, and we'll do it.
We'll just call it for fun.
All right, here's the deal, though. David Sheward gets the next question in our Today-Yesterday trivia quiz.
All right.
The year was 1888. It's funny, I did this question before yesterday. At the Republican Convention in Chicago, Benjamin Harrison is nominated for president. Mm-hmm. Which of these is false about Benjamin Harrison?
Okay.
A, he fired the White House cook and, except for state dinners, did all the cooking himself. B, he was the first president to have his voice recorded. C, after his wife died, he married her niece. Or D, he's the only U.S. president to run for re-election and be defeated by a former president.
Okay. Now, this is really weird because this came up on Jeopardy last night.
Benjamin Harrison came up on Jeopardy?
Or was it Garfield?
Oh, I don't know why that cat would be. Hasn't drawn that in years. Okay.
It was whoever was president and died, or was. Well, wait a minute. Tyler died of pneumonia. No, it wasn't Tyler. It was William Henry Harrison. But I believe. Okay, so I believe. And this is his grandson. He's the only grandson of a president to be elected, I believe. Or was that Garfield? No, it was Harrison. And I believe this is the guy who served in between Grover Cleveland.
Which was a rather interesting naked position for him to be in. But yes.
Yeah, but Cleveland is the only president to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. And hopefully Trump won't be the second. And I'm trying to think if this was the guy who died in. No. Read the beginning of the question.
Sure. The year was 1888. At the Republican Convention in Chicago, Benjamin Harrison is nominated for president. But which of these is false about Benjamin Harrison? A, he fired the White House cook and, except for state dinners, did all the cooking himself. B, he was the first president to have his voice recorded. C, after his wife died, he married her niece. Or D, he's the only U.S. president to run for re-election and be defeated by a former president.
Okay. So which is false?
Which of these is false?
Now, if it's true that he was the one that served oh, wait a minute. And be defeated. So that means he would have served and then Cleveland would have defeated him in 1892. But on Jeopardy, they said whoever was elected in 1888, he served a short term and died. And I think it was, no, that's not it. What? Okay. It was like every 20 years, whoever was from Lincoln up until Reagan, whoever was president either died in office or was assassinated or something. So it's not this. It's not that. I'm going to go with, and I don't think he married his wife's, well, maybe he did after he was president. That could be, because only Wilson and Cleveland were married in the White House. Cleveland married a much younger woman, and
maybe he married Harrison's niece.
Maybe, but Cleveland married a younger woman in the White House, played by Shelley Duvall in the movie. And Wilson married in the White House, played by Robert Vaughn in the miniseries.
Robert Vaughn played the wife? That's
what I was saying. Played the White House.
He played Wilson.
That was my comment.
If they were doing it nowadays on Broadway, it would be played by Robert Vaughn, I'm telling you.
All right, I'll go with, I think the voice thing is true. I think he was the one who was defeated by Cleveland, so that's true. I know that Coolidge fired the cook. Oh no, he fired the housekeeper, played by Cloris Leachman.
And then he did all his own. Cleaning.
No, it was he just fired her. He didn't like her, Mrs. Jaffries. All right, I'm going to say marry the niece.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm getting down on my knees to you, David Sheward, but that is not the correct answer, I'm afraid. He really did. He did, in fact. In fact, when it happened, he was 62 and she was 37, and they had a daughter.
This was after he left the White House?
Yeah, they were. Okay. So, Leslie Hoban Blake, though, we have some other choices there. You can steal and get 2 more points.
I'm going to say that I think that's, I don't remember when the telephone was invented, but I don't think
rings a bell.
You were just getting out of high school, right?
Yeah, and the electric light bulb was just becoming in fashion.
Oh my God.
You walked right into that one.
Oh my God.
What are we laughing at now? What you said or what?
What I said. I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say that he did not record his voice.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, because I have no sense of when those things were invented, because I was such a child at the time.
Yeah, you were in your crib at the time.
Yeah, I was still in my crib.
All right,
Wait, there's a phone? Who invented a phone?
It rings a bell. Anyway. All right, was that your final answer?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there was supposed to be no sound on that one.
Oh, I get it.
Voice record. But yeah, no, Leslie, he was the first president to have his voice preserved and recorded. You can actually go on YouTube and hear Benjamin Harrison speaking. So, but the truth is, what was the truth? And that whole thing about the White House. I didn't even know about the president who fired the maid. That was news to me. So that was all made up about the cook.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I just pulled that out of thin air.
So he was
Grover Cleveland. He was in office. Harrison came in, then Cleveland defeated him afterwards. So that's.
Did you ask which was false?
Yes.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
It was false about the whole Cook thing. It was true that Harrison was defeated by Cleveland, who was already president 4 years ago.
So that was in 1892.
Yeah. The year 1888 was when he was first nominated.
You're just showing off now.
Oh,
You're just showing off now.
Well, I know it was on. I'll have to look at Jeopardy again to see what they were referring to.
You know, by the way, did you see in I don't know, I think it was the post or something, there was a spelling error on Jeopardy?
Yeah, and everybody got up and off.
Really or something?
Jeopardy is going to hell in a handbasket since Alex is gone, you know.
No, it's not. It's still freaking Jeopardy. It's not going anywhere. It's the same question, the same game. What, Dave? What?
Yeah, I like me and Bialik. I don't think it's going to hell.
Yeah, and I think Ken Jennings.
I noticed that this week they made her pull her hair back. I don't think they want her to look glamorous anymore. She was looking pretty good there for a while. She was having her hair done, and this week they made her pull it back like an old maid school teacher.
Well, we'll see if that continues.
It'd be nice that was the thing. I was so angry. I was going to mention this later, but it reminds me in case I forget. Wouldn't it be great? And I was hoping they would do this. They got the Tony Awards. All the actresses, and maybe all the actors too, would dress like the Handmaid's Tale. That would have been a visual. That would have been.
It was a little too early.
Yeah,
it was a tiny bit too early.
Now, yeah.
But that would, we all knew it was coming, so that would have been the moment. You know, we knew this was going to. So a year from now already, our heads are going to be in God knows war with China or something else going on.
You won't be in trouble. You're a guy. It's only the women that they're going after.
Well,
yeah, which is why I don't care. But
I know.
Anyway, who's next? I think it's David Schwartz.
No, it's me. It is I.
It's Leslie.
We have another multiple choice question for you, and this one's a doozy.
Oh.
June 25th, 1929. Mister, we could use a man like Herbert Hoover again because today he authorized the building of the dam that bears his name.
Honey, that's gone to you.
Oh, sorry. Excuse me. All the things I'm going to be speaking about later, all the words I'm going to be using and flinging about. But he built the Darn, the Hoover Darn. Which of these is true about the Hoover Darn? A, just before the dedication of the finished Darn, Hoover and President Roosevelt quarreled over who could give the longer speech until they were told it was 110 degrees, and both agreed to keep their speeches under 5 minutes. B, the mayor of Las Vegas was so eager for Vegas to be the project headquarters, he quietly oversaw the opening of many more brothels and speakeasies to make the town more attractive to bosses and workers. C, in order to make the concrete harden faster, the builders used concrete with almost 3 times the usual amount of calcium in it. Or D, even before Pearl Harbor, Japanese spies came up with a plan to blow up the Hoover Darn. Remember, all of these are false except one. One of these is true.
No, I know. Wow, that's intriguing, because that was 10 years before, actually 12, 13, wait, 19. That was 12 years before for the
Well, like
Japanese to come up.
1929 is
No, no,
when
I'm
he
just.
authorized the building of the Hoover Dam. It wasn't built yet.
I'm going to say it's what's true. I'm going to say they used 3 times the calcium to make it harden faster, so that the building would go faster.
Is that your final answer?
Well, that and the brothels. I mean, that sounds so reasonable. That's what I would do if I wanted to attract the building people to my town. I would certainly do that.
So,
But I'm saying calcium, the D.
It's C.
yeah, well, calcium was C.
Calcium was C.
C, sorry.
So, well, I hate to be recalcitrant, but that is not the correct answer, Leslie Hoban Blake. So, David Sheward.
Okay, so it's who could have the longer speech, Roosevelt or
Hoover.
Or Hoover. The brothels, or there were Japanese spies. Now the question is, what year did Hoover was this happening? But it's not indicated on there anywhere, is it?
No, no.
Oh, okay, all right. Because
You said it said 1929. He said 1929.
1929 is when Hoover authorized the building of the dam. These questions do not necessarily go towards.
Oh, when it. Oh, I see.
Roosevelt
Okay.
became president in 34, I think. 34, 38, 42. Wait. 44, 40, 36, 32. Okay, so maybe it took that long. And actually, there's a reference to the Hoover Dam in a Bugs Bunny cartoon where he's fighting with Black Jack Sherlock, and he wants to blow up his dam. And eventually they get to the Hoover Dam, and he tries to blow it up, and he gets sent to jail, the villain.
Well, because Hoover doesn't, I blew the joke. Hoover doesn't operate in a vacuum. Sorry. That sucked. Yeah, okay.
All right. This is silly.
At least it was a clean joke. Yeah. All right.
And well, maybe there weren't speakeasies. When was Prohibition repealed?
35 or something.
If Prohibition was repealed, then there wouldn't have been speakeasies. But if it was before, so which is false? I'm gonna go.
No. Which in this particular question,
which
is
true?
Which is true.
Yes.
Just to screw with your head, yes.
Oh, then I'm going to say the brothels are true.
Is that your final answer?
Sure.
Well, can I make a brothel joke or well? You've spoken easily, but I'm afraid I have a hard answer for you. That is not the correct answer. So here's the deal. Here's what happened. The correct answer is that in November of 1939, German spies were intercepted in Mexico City with plans to sabotage the dam. It was German spies. Excuse me. Sorry. And I thought of Japanese. I screwed that one up. It was German spies, but it was before Pearl Harbor happened with Japanese, and the Germans were planning to blow up the Hoover Dam. So
we were just talking about Jeopardy making a mistake.
Yes, I know. All right, that won't count anyway. But
all right.
By the way, the whole Herbert Hoover FDR thing, they were such enemies that Hoover wasn't even invited and didn't even go to the inauguration of the dam.
Wow.
And the mayor of Las Vegas, it was sort of the opposite thing. He closed the brothels and the speakeasies in order to make it more palatable for the high mucky mucks to come to Vegas and run the Hoover Dam from there.
So what's the answer?
The true answer was that German spies
and you should have said German instead of
Japanese. But you said Japanese, so.
Did you just hear him? He apologized. He made a mistake.
I'm fallible, Leslie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you have, now that question is, would we have chosen that if we had known it was Germans instead of
I very carefully talked about 12 years in the Japanese, and you didn't stop.
Well, he didn't realize his mistake until he read it.
Because I thought of the attack on American soil was Pearl Harbor, and 2 years before that, it was the Germans who were thinking of. So I screwed up. But also, just so you know, Leslie, you were kind of almost on the right track with the calcium thing. What they did, this is amazing, to build the Hoover Dam, because it's like 120 degrees where this thing is. to make the cement cool a lot faster, they embedded 1-inch pipes in the cement and ran ice water through them.
Really?
And
Wow.
it would take like 100 years to cool, but instead it just took a couple of years. So yeah.
So are those pipes still in the Hoover Dam?
There must be. They're like little 1-inch pipes going through, and like
I
ice
wonder
cold
if
water.
that would help if in future, if the dam is in any kind of trouble for any reason because of overwhelming solar heat panels and whatnot. I wonder if maybe they could run cold water through it then.
Or just
you may have come up with a way of saving the Hoover Dam by reminding them about the pipe.
Whoever did that, whoever built it up, God.
No. But the point is, nobody remembers that. So there's nobody left alive who was there. So maybe
lots of people can read Wikipedia and figure it out. But yeah. But
okay, only if they're looking. I'm trying to give you a thing here. Okay, go ahead.
So here's the deal. Here's the score of the game so far is David with 0 points, Leslie with 2 points, David Lefkowitz with -2 for my screw up. So let's move on. Let's see if I can. And
David Sheward, that makes 3 Ds in a row.
Oh, interesting.
No, 6 was A, wasn't it?
6 was 6. No, wait. 6 was C. Wait, what? Hold it. No.
Harrison was D.
You're right. 6 was A. Harrison was.
6 was A.
A.
He did not fire the cook. That was made up.
But D, you said Harrison was D, the former president.
Harrison is A.
Harrison was A.
Oh, I got that.
That was false.
Down
not true.
What? I'm telling you, don't do 9:45 anymore in the morning, please. Go ahead.
What?
I was trying to have Tony, because Tony had like all these meetings today.
I know.
Hard night Friday or something? Or?
No, I just never get up that early. I don't like getting up early.
No.
Well, I've earned my rest, David.
You know when I have to get up?
That's your problem, dear. I did that. I did that for many, many years.
I have to get up at 5:30.
Really, that early for school?
Yeah. It's more to find a parking spot.
Oh, okay, got it.
You drive to work?
Yes, of course.
You say that as if everybody in the world drives to work in Manhattan. They don't.
Well, this is in
Queens. Queens.
No, I know you live in Queens. I know. Okay.
And the school is in Queens.
So
okay.
Here's the Leslie Hoban Blake. So, or David Sheward also. David, I think this question goes directly to you.
Okay.
Which will allow you to tie if you get it right. And guess what? Just falling out this way. It's another 3 clues in the news. Yes, it is. Wasn't supposed to work like that because there's supposed to be 3 people. But here we go.
Okay. All right.
The words are shelter. Return. Estate.
Huh. Well, it's not row. That's not Wade. Estate plan, return plan, shelter in place, shelter rock, return rock, estate real return trip, return receipt, shelter trip, shelter. Oh, no, it's not island. Estate plan. Final estate. Real estate, real return, shelter. And what else happened in the news this week? There were the hearings, and there was anybody die? And we did the Tony Awards last week. Let me see. Biden fell off his bike, but that doesn't work. Oh, I don't know. Return receipt, return voyage, return trip, return ticket. No. Oh, sale. No. Shelter sale. No. Estate planning. I'm just going to say real. I can't think of anything else real.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, it has to be.
No, I mean, real estate, a good one, but no.
Okay.
It's not the correct answer. So, Leslie, can you steal on this? No.
Nada.
It's not coming.
Nothing.
So do you want to just say the AMT Theater or Nuns for Fun?
Sure.
Yeah, right.
If you want to, sure.
What's playing there? Quirky, something quirky.
Well, you know something funny? My girlfriend, a friend of mine who I thought had left New York, is there as their tech director.
Oh, AMT?
Yeah, Tamara is there. I haven't seen her in years. I'm planning to give her a call.
Oh, that's so cool. So, yay. All right. So, again, this is a blankie.
Don't know.
How do I even? Well, maybe I'll just because this one you're gonna go like, my goodness.
No, I'm too tired to do that.
I could have had a V8
early in the week. Oh, by the way, I did this last week. We were we had to take a trip, and we had an Uber driver, and they were very good, and they gave us like water, and they gave little snacks in the thing, and the guy had, I don't know why he carries this, but low sodium V8 in the thing. Would you like a nice cold V8? And I took it, and I was like, I could have had tomato juice. And he didn't get it because he was like South Asian.
That commercial is like 20 years old.
I know. He was of that generation, but he just, he wasn't around in America, I guess, when that was happening. I thought it was funny. All right.
It's funny.
Thank you. Okay,
it's amazing how you can make a V8 commercial into a racist joke.
That wasn't racist.
Racist about? What the fuck was racist there?
Racist.
Never mind.
And the comment wasn't racist.
Nothing.
Never mind.
You were saying
I was reaching for something which obviously wasn't funny. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
It sounded like I was doing an Apu accent for the
guy.
So
the answer is.
Well, okay. So, in the news earlier in the week before everything else got overshadowed, you guys, everybody's paying more for everything. Yeah. And the president wants to help. Doing something.
Tax. The word is tax.
The word is tax.
Tax.
Tax shelter.
Tax shelter.
Tax
return. Estate tax. Right.
Tax. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
And Biden was
I'm good with a clue. Once I have a clue, I'm good. But without a clue, I'm really not even there in the ballpark.
Well, good for you for getting it there, because Biden's been calling for a 3-month gas tax holiday.
Okay, fine.
So, okay, all right. You guys just want to get this over with today.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Poor Joe Biden.
Like America sinking down.
Poor Joe Biden. He can't help but shoot himself in the foot no matter what he does.
How is he shooting himself in the foot?
He cannot win for losing.
Well, it's not his fault. I mean, he's not doing anything.
None of it is his fault. But the point is, he just can't win for losing.
Well, it's not, when you say shoot in the foot, that's sort of like he's doing an unforced error. Like,
okay, I take that back.
The metaphor is not quite this.
Whatever's happening, no matter what good things he does, something comes along every week to overshadow any good thing that he does.
Yeah, that's not shooting yourself in the foot.
Yes. Okay.
Well, as I've been saying, I mean, I think that the whole abortion thing may sway the elections a bit.
I hope so, but I don't. I hope so, but we'll see.
I hope so too, but I no longer have hope. That's the problem. That's my problem.
So you're Jewish. You never did. So there you go.
But I'm only half Jewish. I certainly had some hope,
All right. Well, let's go to the
you're Jewish Irish. So when you feel hopeless, you drink, and then you feel hopeful. So there you go. All right. Speaking of race, notice you can make an Irish joke, and it's no problem, right? So you can still make fun of Irish. All right, we're moving along. We have.
I'm half Irish. I'm a quarter Polish. I'm Irish. I'm Polish. I'm Russian, and I'm Jewish and Catholic. All of those things.
Wow. Okay, so tons of guilt to unpack there.
From the Catholic side, I get a sense of sin, and from the Jewish side, I get a sense of guilt. I was fucked from the minute I was born.
By the way, when Biden fell off the bicycle, he had a sense of Schwinn. So just so you know.
Schwinn.
Yeah, Schwinn.
I get it.
That made Leslie spit up her spit take.
It almost went through my nose. You almost got a nose take there. I've never seen one of those. Yes.
All right. Leslie, this question, I believe, is for you.
This is for moi? Okay, let's go.
Oh, Leslie, you're going to love this one. This one's fun. The year was 1979 on this date, June 25th. My Fair Lady, meh. Fiddler on the Roof, feh. Opening at Broadway's Minskoff Theater and running for a week is the new musical Got to Go Disco. This brings up fond memories of Disco Demolition Night held just a month later at Chicago's Comiskey Baseball Park. To quote Wikipedia, if you want to just sit there laughing, I was laughing like a moron all night. Just read the Wikipedia page on Disco Demolition Night. At the climax of the event, a crate filled with disco records was blown up on the field between games of a twilight doubleheader between the Chicago White Sox and the Detroit Tigers. Many of those I really can't get through this. Many of those in attendance had come to see the explosion rather than the games, and they rushed onto the field after the detonation. The playing field was so damaged by the explosion and the fans that the White Sox were required to forfeit the second game to the Tigers. So which of these is false about that unforgettable night? I've condensed it. You've got to read the wiki page. It's line by line. It's one of the funniest
I'm just curious, before you ask the question, did anybody get his head sliced off by a flying disco record? A flying disco disc?
I want to mention some of the other things, but yes, they were flying, and yes, one player saw one go into the ground. Remember the guy who threw playing cards at watermelons?
Oh, yeah.
And goes into the records were just going.
I was thinking people would have been damaged, limbs would have been hacked off by those things. Okay.
It was insane. Okay. Well, but which of these is false? All of these are true except this. One of these is false. About
Comiskey Park and the disco demolition, right?
The disco demolition night, yes.
Okay.
A. This was the last time to date that this was the last time to date that an American League Baseball game would be forfeited. B. Tigers player Rusty Staub advised his teammates to wear their batting helmets throughout the game for protection. C. White Sox owner Bill Veeck gave up, exhorting fans to go back to their seats. I'm sorry, White Sox owner Bill Veeck gave up, exhorting fans to go back to their seats when he saw a bonfire raging in center field. If only this were American now. Kind of is. Or D, ironically, as fans were finally filing out, the sound system played pre-recorded music, including Donna Summer's disco hit, Hot Stuff. One of these is false.
Read me C again, because you got so hysterical. I have no idea what it was.
I know. White Sox owner Bill Veeck, or Veeck. I didn't speak.
I think it's Veeck. I always heard it said Veeck. Go ahead.
White Sox owner Bill Veeck gave up, exhorting fans to go back to their seats when he saw a bonfire raging in center field.
Okay. So the first and only forfeit, the batting helmets, the bonfire, or Donna Summer.
Right.
And it's false. It's which one is false?
Yeah, all of these are true except one.
I don't know that there is no irony in baseball, so I don't know that it would be Donna Summer. That was my idea of a joke, by the way.
Sorry. I'm
going
to try and show the video. Mm.
There is crying. There is no irony. That's the problem. I'm going to say that that's not the only time that a game has had to be forfeited. I'll say A.
Is that your final?
Oh, wait. Yeah, that's not the only time that a game had to be forfeited.
For the American League. Okay. Is that your final?
I don't know. From league to league. What do I know?
I'm afraid you forfeit that question, Leslie Hovan Blake, because it is until now, and it's like 40 years. You're wrong about that. It is the only time that an American League Baseball game has been
go ahead.
Forfeited. David Sheward,
So which of these is false?
Which of these is false?
Your three remaining choices.
All right. So I think it's true that that the White Sox guy told people to leave their helmets on. I think it's this is so weird. I never even heard of this. This is so strange.
You've never heard of? Oh my God.
No, I never heard of it.
I don't remember hearing about it either, and I was certainly.
But it's because they were saying we hate disco so much that and it's over, and we're gonna blow up these disco records because we hate disco. Is that the point?
It was a disc jockey who was railing against that disco was everywhere, and all the radio stations were changing formats. And also, to be fair, there are in retrospect, when people write about it now, they say there were elements of racism and homophobia involved because disco culture was coming essentially from the music was coming from blacks, and also the whole
YMCA
thing
stuff.
felt was apparently gay seeming because people were dressing up, and it was a different kind of masculinity.
It was all the village people. The village people were to blame for everything, including Trump
and abortion.
And abortion, yes, right.
Well, the Indian chief, he was performing them, you know. Like,
so they were saying we're going to blow up these records because disco's horrible because it's gay and it's black.
And, well, yeah, and also disco's just fucking horrible. I was cheering when they did it.
All right, so
I don't know. It's fun to dance to.
My choice. Which of these is false? Somebody said keep your batting helmets on to protect yourself. That sounds true. Somebody said don't go back to your seats because there was a bonfire in left field.
Center field.
That's a new novel, isn't it? The Bonfire in Center Field.
Pretty much, yeah. It hits all the bases. Yeah.
The thing with Donna Summer, I think it's too ridiculous. Well, I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous. It's ridiculous enough to be true. So I'll say the bonfire in left field is not true.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah. What difference does
it make?
Wait.
Yeah. Which of these is false? Yeah. So you're saying the bonfire?
Outside the bonfire in center field. That's the title of my new novel.
Well, I'm afraid you flamed out on that question, David Short.
No, the vanities of the bonfire, really.
No, he was trying to tell, he was on the microphone trying to tell people, and then he looked around and there was like literally a giant fire behind him. He's like, oh, the hell, and, I'm just going to stop.
Well, then so what's the answer?
Well, the answer is D. I made that up about Donna Summer.
I should have. I was going to go with that. I should have gone with that.
And Rusty Staub, I guess you're not baseball people, but Rusty Staub, who was with the Mets for a bunch of years, he was beloved here in New York, but he was the Tigers player at that point, who said, quote, "Oh, God almighty, I've never seen anything so dangerous in my life." Because things were fine. Now, if I share my screen, I do want to share this with you and with the audience as well. I hope you can see this. This is like a 10-minute video on YouTube of what this was back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Of how batshit crazy the whole thing was.
Okay, I see. And now you muted the video.
July 12th, 1979. A twilight doubleheader at Comiskey Park. The White Sox versus the Tigers. Between games, 24-year-old Steve Dahl, a popular disc jockey for Chicago rock station Loop 98, would take the field at the head of his so-called anti-disco army to blow up thousands of disco records.
Every day I would play a disco record and drag the needle across it, and scratch it and then blow it up. But I tapped into something. There's an undercurrent of hatred for disco.
In a few minutes, we're going to attempt the world's largest disco demolition. Admission that night was less than $1. If you also contributed an album.
We have people come, 98 cents, you get in, bring a disco record, boom.
Kind of ridiculous.
Unusual promotions were nothing new at Comiskey in the late 1970s. White Sox owner Bill Veeck, one of the few owners enshrined in Cooperstown, was baseball's P.T. Barnum. It was Veeck who commissioned Comiskey's exploding scoreboard. It was Veeck who in 1951 sent Eddie Goodell to the plate. By 1979, his son Mike was running the White Sox promotions department.
I didn't realize how long this video was, but I do want to get to the point where they actually they just start blowing crap up. At some point, they've got to show. I guess it was another video I was watching, but let's see. Yeah, he was excited by it.
Like, oh my God. The field was on fire. It was on fire. I've never seen a baseball field on fire before.
To see this happening is a disgrace. It was the worst promotion in the history of the world.
This is Bill Veeck. Please clear the park, or we'll have to call up the game and close the park.
I saw people steal home plate, dig up home plate. They dug up home plate. I saw a lot of people running the bases, having simulated baseball games, which was kind of cool.
They were ripping the field apart,
kids jumping up and down on the tarp. I'm pretty sure that I saw two people having sex behind third base.
Well, actually,
nobody needs an excuse to do that.
Oh my God, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I hope I don't get dinged from Facebook for using content from elsewhere, but that's just a piece of it. I couldn't get to the video of the stuff actually exploding when they did it, which was all that was supposed to happen. And they also thought they'd get a few 100 people coming in. They got
so bottom line, that's another D, right?
That was another D. Yes. Okay.
Okay.
I just find it hysterically funny. And if you think America changed with like the rallies of the Proud Boys and there's this and violence and in the cities, it was people are the same from 1979 on.
Oh yeah.
You get them together, get them a little drunk, and crazy shit happens. Anyway.
Well, if you go back a little further, there were plenty of very, very horrible things going on with crowds of people in white, with white hoods on, and grabbing people off the street and hanging them and setting them on fire. So,
Shays Rebellion and tarring and feathering
tax officials. Of 1863, there were plenty of incidents, if you want to go back for those.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Not on sports fields, however. They were not considered sports at that point, I don't think.
They kind of were. Necktie Social was kind of almost.
By the way, I just wanted to say something. I want to get away from the baseball field for a minute. Sure. David, you're making a joke about the 1888 and saying, I was still in high school. So I had to fill in a form recently. I don't remember why. And it wasn't like a government form. It wasn't a real form. It was somebody wanted my birthday for some sort of algorithm to know how old the people who were using this particular site are. So I put down that I was born in 1919, which is when my mother was born, which would make me 103 at this point, right?
Yes.
It went through. Nobody checked it. Nobody stopped it. So I wanted somebody to call me and wish me happy birthday next month, when I come up as 104. That's all. Never mind. That was it. They don't always check these things. They ask for your birthday, but nobody follows up on it.
Well, that was the thing. If people had known back in the day when they were first signing up for Twitter and Facebook and stuff, they know how the information would be used. You could have put, oh, yeah, I was born in 1947 on December 12th. Just put it there, and then it's less likely that somebody's going to steal that little bit of information about you and so forth. But who knew? Or we should have known. I guess the tech people knew.
As my sister, the lawyer, once said, everything anybody wants to know about you is already on the internet. It's already out there, from your phone number to your address to your age to anything else. So
Basically. Anyway, well, getting even more depressed now. But here's the
where are we? How many questions left? Any?
We're at the tiebreaker, aren't we?
Yeah. So here's the deal. I think we have there's a 2-point game with Leslie with 2 points. So
yeah. I like that. David, I'm like that winner on Jeopardy who kept winning by like $2. Mm-hmm. Remember?
All right.
The last week's winner? No, David Stewart.
I haven't seen every episode this week, but yeah.
Well, no, but there was that woman who won. She got to be in the finals, and she 2 or 3 times in a row, she won by having like $2 more than the other person, and she didn't get the answers right or anything. It was really strange.
Oh, wow. Because you figure they budget it, so they get exactly $1.
Yeah, I mean, somehow she got it. She was the most surprised person there when she did get it right. Let's go. What's this?
Yes. Okay, Les. So this is a tiebreaker, except it's not really a tie because congratulations, Leslie, you won the game this week.
Really?
I'm not going to take any bragging rights on this one today. It's okay. Go ahead.
Well, yeah. I mean, you kind of have to be in the game from the beginning to really claim the crown. But okay, this is the tiebreaker. Okay. But I will ask you to write it down, just the usual way. You'll show up at the end of the question. Right. I mean, it's not a multiple choice. I'll ask you for the answer. I'll bet you guys both know this one. The year was 1925. Born today in New York City is this actress who won a special 1948 Tony Award as Outstanding Newcomer for her performance in For Love or Money. She went on to greater fame, playing mom roles in 2 iconic TV shows, Lassie and Lost in Space. Name that actress and hostess of many a Miss USA, Miss Universe, and Tournament of Roses parade and pageant. I know, David, just some clicked when I said the TV shows. I'm thinking Leslie also, but we will see. She's nodding too. I'll read the question one more time in our tiebreaker of our today. Are you guys both wrote? You're both ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
The year 1925. Happy birthday today to this actress who won a special 1948 Tony Award as they used to have this category called Outstanding Newcomer that I guess now goes to the theater world or something, but for her performance in For Love or Money. She went on to greater fame playing mom roles in two iconic TV shows, Lassie and Lost in Space. Name that actress and hostess of many a Miss USA pageant, a Miss Universe pageant, Tournament of Roses parade, and so forth. 3, 2, 1. I'm seeing June Lockhart. I'm seeing June Lockhart, and you have both locked hearts together with the correct answer. Well done.
Locked hearts. I like that.
Is she still alive?
Her whole family. Her whole family was. Her father was Jean Lockhart.
Jean Lockhart.
Yeah.
And her mother was Mrs. Jean Lockhart, who was also an actress. Kathleen Lockhart. I think her mother was Kathleen Lockhart.
And they were all in A Christmas Carol.
Yes.
With Reginald Owen.
Yes.
The Hollywood version.
Yes. And she played, and Kathleen, her mother played Mrs. Bob Cratchit, I believe.
Yes.
Neat. Well, guys, well done. Congratulations. I kind of knew as soon as I started reading it that you guys would...
No, I didn't know until you said the TV shows. I did not know her from Best Newcomer in 1948. I was still in my crib.
Is she still? I think she's still alive.
She's 94, I believe. Huh. Well, 1925, yeah, or 93.
Yeah.
No, higher. 1925. So she'd be like 96 or something like that.
Yeah.
Did either of you watch the Emmys last night? There was nothing else on.
The daytime Emmys, no.
The daytime Emmys. I don't watch the daytime shows, but I found it interesting to watch these people who had been on shows forever. And they gave a special award to Bill Hayes, who is 99.
Oh.
Did he show up? I mean...
I think he's had a stroke or something. But he was working until like last year, the year before. And I found that fascinating. And you can just grow aged and grayer and stay on these shows. As long as you can learn your lines and hit your mark, I guess you can just be on them, you know?
And why not? And why, I was sad.
No, I found that.
Couldn't, make the Tony.
It's on Days of Our Lives. Is that still on?
I don't know if that's still on, but that's the show he was on. But what's interesting is Bill Hayes, of course, was a singer. And Bill Hayes wasn't he not in Sweet Thursday or something like that?
I don't know, maybe.
I have to Google that one.
I have him on an album. I don't remember the show now, but he was a Broadway singer before he went into, and he met his wife on these daytime shows. I went looking because when they said he was 99, I was fascinated. So I went in and I looked at it.
And there are only, I think, 4 daytime dramas left.
There's one on Peacock that I started to watch, which has to do with, and the only reason I'm watching is because that's the kind of thing I like. It's about supernatural things. It's called Beyond Salem, and it comes from the Days of Our Lives people.
Oh.
And it's supernatural and funny, so I watched that. Speaking of which, David Sheward, you're a comic book person and superhero person, and so am I. Have you watched The Boys?
I know what it is. I haven't watched it, no.
I started with season 3. I'm not going back. It's far too violent and whatnot, but it is funny.
Uh-huh.
And it is
funny. Oh.
Well, funny in a very it's I don't even know how to express it. It's funny in about the darkest sense of the word funny that you can think of. It's about the blackest humor that I've seen ever on television.
Wow.
But
I like that kind of thing, but not if it's like unpleasantly, because I love
it's so over the top that it's not. It's so over the top. Everything looks like chocolate pudding. You don't have to worry about it. I mean, it doesn't look like real blood and guts. It all looks like somebody came out of the factory. But I'm amazed that they got away with putting this on, and it's in its 3rd season, going into its 4th season. It's based on a graphic novel. It's based on a graphic novel. It's about a time in the future when there are real superheroes, but they turn bad.
It's on Amazon, I think.
Oh, it's Amazon.
It's on
That's why they got
Amazon,
away
right.
with it. I mean, they can put it on cable. They do whatever. Anyway.
Yeah, but still, there's only so far you can go, and then
they're testing. They're figuring it out.
they're testing, right? Well, this show tests.
Well, this show is a test on everybody. It's called Dave's Gone By, and we've been delighted to have with us, as usual, Leslie Hope and David Short. So, first of all, let's go to you, Leslie, and ask you. You were part of the TV podcast, if you will, Two on the Aisle with our friend Charlie Gross. Do we have a new Two on the Aisle this week?
Yeah, we have a new Two on the Aisle. Well, we did, as I said, we sewed together four of our shows, and it was aired on Thursday night. So there is a new show up on MNN. If you bother to look at that website, you can find that online if you want to look at that. Or each of those is up on YouTube. What I think is interesting is I was ready to go back. I actually tried to put in for a ticket to Hamlet at the Armory. Unfortunately, there are no more tickets left. They went to the Drama Desk members immediately. I don't know whether you guys tried or not, but they were gone.
I'm going on Wednesday.
They were gone by the first or second day. And but I no sooner decided that I would go back than the league decided to do away with the mask mandate.
Well, first of all, that's at the end of, is it immediate or the end of July?
It's at the end of June. July is Friday. July starts Friday of this week. So, duh.
Well, so go this week to something before, or go to American Buffalo again, because they're masking no matter what.
It's too, we no longer have voting, so it's too late for me to go see something I haven't seen.
Right,
the only rationale for letting me go back would be that I was going to vote for it. Right. So that doesn't exist. And I thought Hamlet at the Armory would be a great way to put my toe back in the water, and that's not going to happen. So
is the Oresteia running? Because aren't they running?
They weren't offering tickets for the Oresteia. They were offering
only for him. Okay,
that's strange. I wonder why they're doing that.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I thought that they would say Oresteia as well as Hamlet, but
no, it was just Hamlet. I don't know who did. It looked as if Charles Wright might have brokered that deal. I'm not sure. I could be wrong. But anyway, so I'm sorry. Charlie got tickets, and they pushed him off into July. They pushed him to July 5th. But
they pushed the mask mandate, you mean, or the?
No. The last possible date to get the ticket was July 5th,
okay,
and Charlie got the last date. I'm not saying he got the last ticket, but he got the last date. And when
Leslie,
I put
can I ask you, I mean, I know you've been immunocompromised for a particular reason, but when the masks go off in the Broadway theater, but you can still, of course, wear a mask yourself. Is that
of course?
It still is a non?
What's the point? That doesn't do any good. If you're one person, it's like a raindrop in a storm. I mean, it only helps if everybody else is masked. It doesn't help if you're the only person masked.
Right. It doesn't keep other people's raindrops from hitting your face.
Not when there's a whole theater full of raindrops. No,
you're not going to be near all of them. Or is it just in the air? Is where it's coming?
It's an airborne. It's an airborne thing. So it's the air. It's the person next to you. It's the person 3 rows ahead of you. The 3 rows behind you. It's the person who sneezes. It's the person on. As I said with Billy Crystal, who spits when he sings. It's all of those things.
David Short. I mean, you had COVID, and you also were in the hospital last year, so you have reason to be more.
When I got hit by a car, yes.
Right. So, how do you feel July 7th?
Well, I am because I had COVID. I can get my booster at the end of June. I'm going to get a booster, and I will. I mean, I feel. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to stop. I mean, going. I just went to Corsicana at Playwrights Horizons on Thursday, and everyone, that's off-Broadway, and it's still June, and everyone was wearing a mask. Tomorrow, I'm going to Epiphany at the Mitzi Newhouse at Lincoln Center, and I think that's going to be all masked. And in July, I think we'll have the Kite Runner and Into the Woods.
Oh, on Broadway, yeah.
I want to see Into the Woods. I really want to see that. And as I said last week about being a wuss, it's not really that I feel like I'm a wuss. David, you've been through hell and back. David Sheward, you have been through hell and back in the last 2 years. I had my share. It wasn't COVID, but I had my share.
Yeah.
I'm older, and I don't feel comfortable. I really don't.
You have to do what you feel comfortable.
And I don't subscribe to the idea that everybody's going to get it.
No.
Because I would like to be the one person who doesn't get it. You know?
I don't
I mean,
agree
I
with
have
that
to go
also.
through it. So all of those things, but I do. I sit up at night sometimes and I think, so should I go? Should I not go? Should I go? Should I not go?
That's understandable.
Yeah. So
no, I understand, but I'm just saying, and it's such a stupid thing. I mean, in light of Roe versus Wade and open carry, who cares? You know, I mean, I might as well go to the theater. I can get shot on the street.
Well, you're still a lot more likely to get COVID than get shot. Or with due respect to have an abortion.
Famous last words. The abortion is off the table. The abortion is off the table. No pun intended. But,
anyway, and David Sheward, before I forget, you have, of course, you write for culturaldaily.com, theaterlife.com.
Yes.
I know you've gone to see these couple of shows, but what can we read now of yours?
Right now, I have a review of The Orchard with Mikhail, the adaptation of Chekhov's The Cherry Orchard with Mikhail Baryshnikov and Jessica Hecht and Mark Nelson and a bunch of robots.
And a mechanical arm, right? And a mechanical
arm and a robot dog.
And
on which was it?
Well, I was going to say, and
my view of it, I thought that the acting was very good, and but the gimmicks they really didn't add to it. I don't think they didn't. I mean, I think they had the robot arm had a camera at the end, so you could look at it from different angles, and it would be projected on a scrim. And if you're watching the digital version at home, you can switch between just a view of the stage and a view of the arm. And I thought it didn't really add that much to it. If it had been sort of like these things were emphasizing the family's disconnection with the modern world, that would have made sense. But it didn't really do that.
Integrate it. But it didn't ruin the night either, because
it didn't ruin it.
Can you imagine if somebody came to Chekhov and said, Anton, you got to have a gimmick, you know?
I mean, it was
robot arm, Anton. Yes.
I mean, some of it worked at one point when in the play there's a passerby who comes by, and he sort of walks right through the estate, and everybody's sort of shooken up, and that's sort of symbolic of the coming changes. Chekhov was kind of prescient about that there was going to be a revolution and the whole aristocracy was going to tumble. And they're kind of shocked and scared. And in this version, it's this big vulgar guy who speaks only in Russian, which is not translated, and everybody's horrified. And he treats them like dirt, and they take it. And it was kind of and they're sort of like horrified. And it reminded me of Jews before the Nazis and all of that. So that metaphor kind of worked.
And also, Chekhov, during his lifetime, they were planning to do with Three Sisters, where an American helicopter comes down over the wall and rescues them and brings them to Moscow. But one of them died. It didn't.
Really?
Didn't go for it. Yeah. Anyway,
and
what else? What else have you written about for theaterlife.com and culturaldaily.com?
Well, on the blog, the Chekhov thing is the most recent thing. And on the blog, I have the 12th annual David Desk Awards.
Oh my!
Where
tell us.
Where I just have, these are my choices for what I thought was the best of the season. And it's parallels a lot of the Tonys and the Drama Desk, but I include some other performances and productions that were overlooked.
Oh, sweet. So if people want to read that, and I'm sure you do, go to The David Desk. Just look for David Sheward or The David Desk, because it's not like a .com thing. You can't just go right to that.
Or David Desk's, David Sheward's blog or whatever.
Yeah, you'll find it pretty easily, and I hope you will.
Oh, and also, one other thing, Amazon, I just discovered this. They recently have a previously unreleased Carol Burnett show segments, like the whole hour, like on MeTV, they have like chopped up half hours, and the first 5 seasons, you just see like little bits of the show, not the whole show. And Amazon has, they've released the whole 60 minutes of these previously chopped up shows.
And you've written about that for the David Desk.
Yes, and I'm just saying this is what's missing from the MeTV edition, and a lot of it is very interesting. Like one segment has Scoey Mitchell, who was a black comic in the 60s.
Yeah.
And in one sketch, Carol plays a news reporter, and he is the first Black president.
Oh.
This is from 1969.
Right.
Oh.
When it seemed like a complete impossibility. Like Godfrey Cambridge would make a film about it, and it'd be so ridiculous that never happened.
Yeah.
And then it did happen, and then it meant nothing.
Yeah. And
Well, Robert Downey Sr. made Putney Swope also.
Yeah. And James Earl Jones was in a film called The Man or something like that, where he was the first Black president.
Yes. Now that you mention that.
I think Rod Serling wrote the screenplay.
Really? Oh.
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, and it's worth seeing for James Earl Jones also. But anyway,
now I am old enough to have seen James Earl Jones do King Lear.
I've seen it on television. Yes.
I saw it live, man. I saw it live. That one.
By
the way, did you all catch the Joe Papp thing on Channel 13?
Yes.
Wonderful. Oh God, that was a wonderful.
Interestingly, it was from 5 years ago, and
I don't know. I didn't see it 5 years ago, so I saw it now.
I think it was unreleased, and this is for some reason.
I just wish it were like 4 hours in this.
Yeah, they left out
rather than 85 minutes.
Yes.
It could be a whole.
There was so much. I was so happy to see all of that.
They left out quite a bit.
Can I ask you and how you've? I mean, I have mixed feelings, and it's not a racial thing, although people might take it as such. But renaming the Brooks Atkinson Theater after Lena Horne, like. Couldn't they take the Nederlander or the Broadway Theater and name the Broadway Theater Is it
because Brooks Atkinson was a critic, or because?
Yes, because
no, I think it's You're saying that it should have been. I'm not sure if it is the Brooks Atkinson a Nederlander theater.
No. Oh, it might be a different ownership. But
It's that particular.
Change the names of.
Yes. Now, what it is that all of the 40-odd Broadway theaters, they're only owned by about 4 or 5 groups. Right. The Nederlanders, the Jujamsons, the Schuberts, Disney, and Ambassador Group, which owns the Lyric. And that the Nederland, whichever group I forget owns the Brooks Atkinson, they said, well, yes, we will rename one of our theaters for an African-American artist.
Wouldn't you pick Ruby Dee? Or maybe Ossie Davis?
Or Ossie Davis / Ruby Dee. Or Alice Childress. Or then they chose Lena Horne, whatever.
Yeah, and she did one beloved show. She didn't do that much Broadway.
She did her concert, Lena Horne in the music.
Wasn't she in House of Flowers or Jamaica, whichever one that
was? She
was
in Jamaica. Diane Carroll was in House of Flowers.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just watched the end of Till the Clouds Roll By last night, where the impeccably dressed in white Frank Sinatra sang Old Man River. And I thought Lena Horne was in that. And I thought I would die watching that. I just laughed and laughed. You don't remember seeing that?
So much to the Broadway theater that she would take over the legacy of a very important theater critic, and we are theater critics. It pisses me off a little bit.
Well,
nobody gives a shit about theater critics, David.
Well, no, I mean, I think we have the Walter Kerr.
Is Kerr still there? Or is it changed? Do they change?
Yeah, no, it's still the Walter Kerr.
The Kerr, yeah.
That's where Hadestown is playing.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. How many African, maybe somebody like Ruby Dee, maybe somebody like
Lena Horne had a wider audience than Ruby Dee did. If that means anything.
Possibly.
Well, I guess it does.
And then maybe rename another theater Brooks Atkinson. He's an important figure in our history.
Yes,
I
extremely.
mean, not like it's like the Alvin. Who is Alvin? And yes, I know that Gerald Schoenfeld and Bernard Jacobs were important producers.
Right.
But a producer is not the same thing as a playwright or an actor or a composer.
Well, they gave the Mark Hellinger, the producer, to what's his name, the caricaturist.
No, Martin Beck.
Oh, you're right. Martin Beck went to
Who the hell was Martin Beck? Was he a producer also?
I think he was a theater owner and a producer. Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
Hellinger, he was a producer, and then that was by a church group, and now it's a church.
That's right. I just remembered that there was a Hellinger theater, but okay.
Yeah. That's where My Fair Lady was, and it was sold in the 80s to a church, and now it's the Times Square Church.
Because back then, nobody wanted it. Theaters were poison. Nobody was going. Nobody. Yeah, and then they says, "What do we need this real estate for? Let's sell it to somebody who can pay for it." And now they would be clamoring.
It doesn't happen again, because there are articles all over the place this week about the lack of theater audience. I mean, taking masks off is not going to make more people want to go. Do they not understand that?
But I think but there's
off of masks is not going to have a rush of tickets at the box
certain shows are doing better. I was surprised that Company announced its closing. I was really surprised about that. But A Strange Loop is doing better. MJ had a bump, and I think
supposedly from the Tonys. Yeah, right.
Yes. And I think Paradise Square did too.
Yeah, and even Paradise Square's, I mean, we're really talking arcane theater stuff, was up to like 350,000 instead of 250. So Dr. Binsky's minting money somehow.
Yes.
It's hard, or he's just using
printing it in the basement or something.
Yeah. Or he just got this huge grant from the government for surviving the pandemic with a show. No, I'm not, that wasn't a joke. In other words, like the government may have given. Like all the shows, all the producers got like
they were interrupted.
Nobody's heard about it. Did they say, "This is hush money"? Did they do that?
I won't be surprised. Anyway, it's time for us to hush as far as the today yesterday game, but to thank you both, David Sheward, Leslie Hope, and Blake. I hope you guys can make it next Saturday. I know it's a holiday weekend. But July 3rd.
I'm here. I'm not sure when my kids are coming down. I think they're coming down. Oh, they're coming for my birthday, which is in August. So no, next week is fine.
Oh, yay. And David, let me know, because sometimes you go away with your husband.
I think so. I think I'll be all right.
Great. Well, I hope to see you back here next Saturday, July 2nd, for the Today Yesterday quiz on Dave's Gone By. Let's do those kisses. Thank you, David. Thank you, Leslie. Have a wonderful, safe, and healthy.
We're at opposite sides, David. So I go this way and you go that way on my screen. It's funny.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I'm just going to let you go, David. Thank you, man.
Bye.
Here on the Dave's Gone By program with me, Dave Lefkowitz. It's our 855th edition, live on June 25th, 2022. We've been calling it the Good Sport episode in honor of Tony Sportiello, who was able to stay long enough to talk for a half hour with Rabbi Saul, which was great. Unfortunately, he had to leave. Only unfortunate for us because he had to leave our game. Fortunate for him because he's got a theater to run, the AMT Theater over on West 45th Street. We thank Tony so much for making the time that he could for us this morning. And we also thank Rabbi Saul Solomon, of course. If you want to find out more about him, go to shalomdammit.com. Shalom, D-A-M-M-I-T, shalomdammit.com. And that is that's a place where you can read his rabbinical reflections. In fact, we'll see one, an older one later from 9 years ago, all about abortion when it was a thing in Texas as opposed to the whole country. And what else? And you can watch his TV show. He did 10 hilarious religioso episodes of a show called Shalom Dammit, Rabbi Saul Solomon's Peace, Love, and Acid Reflux Hour, which you can see every single episode. They're on YouTube as well by going to shalomdammit.com. And his hilarious and classic one-man musical, Shalom Dammit, An Evening with Rabbi Saul Solomon, an early version of that show, the full version, runs about 2 hours, that was done at the Richmond Shepherd Theater. Speaking of small theaters that were on a wing and a prayer and are no longer there, that is on shalomdammit.com also. We've been hoping, pre-pandemic, we were hoping to bring that show back off-Broadway or off-Broadway. We will see. We'll see. Anyway, I'm Dave Lefkowitz. We have a bit more. Well, there's some more show to do for you today on Dave's Gone By. We have our Colorado Limerick of the Damned coming up, and I'm also going to go off a bit, because I just can't not, about the whole abortion thing. I know I've probably talked about this to some extent like 2 weeks ago, or a couple of weeks ago, when the cat was out of the bag as to how the Supreme Court would eventually vote. So thank you to whoever was the WikiLeaky type of person who let that out of the bag, so at least the Democrats could plan for this event and stage marches, and so I'll get to it. Anyway, before then, let's stay in the fun zone. Okay, not all news is dark and dour and grim and sad. Some of it is just plain fun and ridiculous. And when you find that in the pages of the Greeley Tribune newspaper. This is a real newspaper in northern Colorado. And it now comes out in hard copy 4 days a week. It's online all the time, of course. But it's been around for 130 or more years. And there are two really wonderful columns that they do week after week. One of them is called Cop Log. It's about phone calls that come into the police department from people who are in the neighborhood, and they say, oh my God, send the police person, there's something weird going on. And sometimes the calls are weirder than the actual event. Either way, it's public record. The information is taken down by the police dispatch, and then the newspaper folks at the Tribune go through them and pick out the funniest, most ridiculous, weirdest ones. We look them over and share them with you as well. And we mix them up with items that were in the Northern Colorado newspaper 100 years ago, back in 1922, that are found over at the Tribune by Mike Peters, who literally just goes through these old papers and notes down the most ridiculous things. So, as I said, we mix both of those items up, and we share them with you in a segment that we like to call Greeley Crimes and Old Times. Hey, why is it? Oh, I know why this isn't played. This is the second time I've done this. Greeley Crimes. Hey, I'm just full of mistakes today. Greeley Crimes once again and Old Times. I can't find my telephone. This is terrible. How am I going to answer these phone calls from concerned citizens in their town? I do have a alternate phone source that I'll use when calls come. Oh my God! I think there's a call that's about to come in as we speak, and a crime being potentially committed in Greeley, Colorado. Hello. Okay. All right. A man near A Street said he was sleeping in his truck when he woke up to a man walking away after flattening his tires. So you figure that one of the reasons, one of the good things about sleeping in your truck is that stuff like that wouldn't happen. If you left your truck unguarded, then it would be more likely to have your tires, the air sucked out of them. But this poor guy on A Street said some naughty person lowered his truck, while he was in it, sleeping. So I don't really have anything funny to say about that. Oh well, let me do another one. Hello. I'll get it. All right, okay, I got it. Yeah, hello. Okay, well, maybe you should sleep in your truck then. A caller on Sunset Lane said he was in his garage when a man approached the garage door, took off his shirt, put it in the yard, and walked away. All right. Now, see, if I got a house and a woman did that, I'd be waiting there all day. But it's only men who do that sort of thing, unfortunately. There's another caller. Oh, this is a more urgent one. Hold on. Yeah, I got it. Oh. Strange times, strange towns we live in, ladies and gentlemen. A caller on 10th Avenue reported a man throwing knives at a tree. Okay. All right, get practicing. I know they've been opening up all over the country, and northern Colorado too, these places, and you know this, it's probably one near you, where you go out, you pal around, there's snacks, there's beers, there's alcohol, but the nature of the place is axe throwing or hatchet throwing. So it's the new sport. It's like darts. You go, and instead of throwing darts, you actually try and take a hatchet and go. Meanwhile, you probably had 3, 4, 5 beers, and you've got this hatchet in your hand. At least it's not a concealed hatchet. I don't know. But anyway, this guy's just throwing knives at trees. Maybe he's practicing. A caller on 10th Street asked, what did he ask? What were you asking? Oh, I doubt it. Maybe around holiday time. Someone called the police department from 10th Street to ask if the Greeley Police Department handed out stuffed animals. Actually, I guess they ought. It would be be nice if on a slow day when no one's getting killed or anything, if the police are like, if there's poor kids, kids who have enough maybe for food but no fun, well, we can go and deliver some toys to them, not just on December 24th. Maybe that's not such a dumb one anyway. Here, maybe this one's going to be dumber. We have another caller. Another caller. I got it. A caller on 10th Street, I know you're on 10th Street, said he asked if a man lying on the sidewalk was okay. And the man responded he wanted to be left alone. So he's Gregor Garboing there on the sidewalk. Like, he's in the middle of a street on a sidewalk. He doesn't go behind an alley. He doesn't go into his own domicile or crawl into a truck. He lies down in the middle of the street and says, leave me alone. That's America right there. Right there. One more. This is from like 2 or 3 weeks ago in Greeley, Colorado. How appropriate, how serendipitous for the day. A woman on 29th Street requested a refund for a pregnancy test, but the cashier refused. Yeah, okay. You got to pay for the test whether it's a yes or a no. Or I can imagine now that if it was a yes, she's going to need to collect all the money she can to get a van to a different state. But, yeah. Let's do some old times. These are things that were in the newspaper, the Greeley Tribune Republican, it was called back then. These were in the local newspaper there back in 1922. At a town dance at the Gill Dance Hall, I'm going to read this. This is from 100 years ago. It was in the newspapers, right? So I mentioned that either things are so ridiculous, they're like, or so nostalgic that we look back, or the more things change, more things remain the same. People want to say, oh, America's going to hell, which it is. Republicans want to say, oh, the Democrats are this about crime. Okay. 1922. At a town dance at the Gill Dance Hall in northern Colorado, a man opened fire with his pistol and fired into the crowd. One man was hit 5 times with bullets and is now in precarious condition at the hospital. I think precarious. That is actually a great word. But, you want to talk about school shootings, you want to talk about, now is worse than ever. And now, you can't control crime and it's everywhere and people go. It's like 100 years ago, there were crazy people who, for whatever reason, either to settle a score or they're just out of their fucking minds, would walk into a dance hall and not even try and kill a particular, but just fire and start killing. So the more things change, more things remain. Among the prisoners at the Weld County Jail, a kangaroo court was formed, and they attacked a new prisoner because he smelled very bad. They gave him a bath, the first one he's had in the past year. Okay, I get that. I mean, nowadays, I guess in those days in jails, it was different. They say, pick up the soap. It's like, no, we don't want to get close. We're not going to do that. We're just going to wash you. Pick up the soap. Anywho. Oh my goodness. Guess what we have? Yes, tons of comedy for you. Yeah. Oh, he's loving it. Thank you. That's right, my friends. It's a potato alert. Oh, boy. Yes, we have a story, a short item, a line item from 100 years ago that mentions potatoes. Here we go. Are you ready, potato? Yeah, this was an abortion that did not take. It was a tuber ligation. Anywho, potato alert. In preparation for the 4th of July celebration, there will be some unusual races, including a 3-mile motorcycle race with a sidecar, which is probably got a lot of fun to watch, actually. Half-mile cow-pony race. And they were doing some weird breeding, I guess, back then. And a potato race, which I don't know what that is. A potato sack race, I get. You go in the sack, you hop, and you try and beat the other, by hopping faster. But a potato race, I have a whole race of potatoes in the house. I'm very proud of them. But I don't know. Anyway, that was our little potato item from 100 years ago in Grilly Crimes and Old Times. Moving forward, let's do something from elsewhere, shall we? We shall. This is not every single item that we do in Grilly Crimes and Old Times is just from Colorado. We try and do one or two stories from elsewhere in the country, elsewhere in the world, just because they're goofy and weird. Well, history was made in Massachusetts recently. Now, okay, we're all upset. We're mind-boggled about a Supreme Court that can say that gun control is a state's right, is a federal thing, but abortion is a state's right. And we're all looking like, goggle-eyed. We're at the gas station. We're at the supermarket. We can't fucking pay for anything. We're watching our 401ks go down. It's going to be a long, hot, violent summer. But history was made in Massachusetts recently when two TikTok stars created the world's largest chicken nugget. Yes, Nick Giovanni and Lynn Davis of Cambridge, who previously concocted the planet's biggest cake pop. Oh, they were just experimenting with that one. Teamed up again to make a chicken nugget that weighed 46 pounds. According to the Guinness Book of World Records, or Guinness World Records, this delicious chunk of fried poultry, I'm reading from the AP story or whoever wrote this, is approximately 115 times larger than the average chicken nugget. The chef used 40 pounds of ground chicken, 40 eggs, and 40 slices of white bread, then cooked the monstrosity for 12 hours. And the amazing thing is there's still more chicken in it than you'll actually get from the Colonel. So I don't know. But anyway, yes. So when you think that there is no joy, that everything is unbelievably horrible and getting worse, or as Leslie said, that there's no hope, somebody made a 46-pound chicken nugget. Wow. Let's even just take a moment, right? Let's just take a moment to enjoy that. Think of it. Picture it. I had this idiot that we were all listening to yesterday on the final day of school. They hired this motivational speaker. I mean, he was fine at some points, and I just got really tired of his bullshit. But, they had a moment of meditation that he brought in some woman on his staff to do like 3 minutes of calming meditation. Like, we're going into the summer. Just leave us alone. We'll do meditation later. Just get us out of here and give us our fucking pizza. But we're like, meditate on this, my friends. A 46-pound chicken nugget. How much do you think that would cost if you went to buy that at Chick-fil-A or Colonel Sanders? Oh, I don't know. A nugget that size would probably be about $200. Okay, I'll move on. I know. I'll move on. I promise you. Let's do another elsewhere. This is going all the way to Thailand, where Walmart is pulling Chowko. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Chaokoh. Chowko, a popular brand of coconut milk, pulling it off the shelves. Why? After reports of, and this is a quote, forced monkey labor. This is going to get me like the disco demolition one. After reports of forced monkey labor, People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals, PETA, accused the Thai coconut milk supplier of using monkey slave laborers for harvest. The animals, and this is awful, this is bad. I'm glad they stopped it. The animals are chained and improperly cared for, said PETA. The coconut trade uses monkeys as chained up coconut picking machines. They can't, and this is where PETA always oversteps, they can't play, eat, or spend time with their families. Like, hi, oh, when are you coming home, dear? No, God, pick the coconuts. No, see you this weekend. But seriously, who knew? Who knew that we're using monkey slave labor to do anything? That you could control a monkey. Now, seeing eye dogs, I get. They train them. They're blood sniffing or drug sniffing dogs. They throw them around. This smells like this. But wait, you actually like train, or do you just let a monkey go into a coconut tree and let a monkey do what a monkey would do in a coconut tree, which is, I guess, like go pull down coconuts? I should have a YouTube video of this. I'd like to see that. I'm hoping that they give the monkeys now a better wage, so they don't go bananas, and that they are better cared for, better treated. There are more shifts and shift breaks. But I do love this idea of trained monkeys running up into trees. And I know it's cruel, but and then getting food that way for us. Wow. It'd be great if they could do that with other animals for coffee, like sending muskrats into fields to pick coffee beans or something. You know, again, not to treat them cruelly, just to let them do what they do and then gather what they do. The civet, right? The civet makes coffee. They wait. This is true for this ridiculous, like, muskratty, beaverish animal to take a shit because it eats these berries, and then they take the civet shit and they turn that into coffee. It's chock full of gunk, but apparently it's good. It's like a really strong, really good, high quality coffee because it was digesting and the enzymes of the civet worked on it while it was in the animal, and comes out and they clear away, I guess, the excremental part of it, and that's a good coffee bean right there. So yeah, I think this is a really untapped market if they can do it right. If they can get, if only they could get animals to pick cotton, we'd have a whole different country, wouldn't we? Anyway, let's go back to grisly crimes and old times. Let's do one or two more crimes, and then we'll call it a day, and then I'll talk about some stuff, and then we will end this episode of the show. But here, in our grisly crimes and old times segment, let's get back to a caller on 10th Street. Hello, I gotcha. No, we did the caller on 10th Street. The hell with that. Let's do a caller on 12th Street. Well, can you walk 2 blocks? Yeah, go from 10th to 12th. I'll wait. Your call is important to us. Please hold on. Yes, a caller on 12th Street said a squirrel looked drunk because he was acting strange and running around in circles in the driveway. So, I think, hopefully not rabid. I guess that wouldn't be funny, and maybe you would call at least animal control, if not the cops. Or just invite him in for some brewskis and have fun with squad. Don't know where I'm going with that. A caller on 44th Avenue. Yeah, what did you... Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're too dumb to even talk to. Bye. A caller on 44th Avenue said he paid $4,000 for gold from an unknown person, and it wasn't actually gold. This is why we have the country that we have. This is why an amusing idea of burning and blowing up some record albums in the middle of a twilight doubleheader in a baseball park can turn into a crazy-ass riot because you get a caller on 44th Avenue, paid someone for gold, doesn't know who it was, and it wasn't actually gold. I've got to tell you, if the person, that caller, I would love to do business with them. Yeah. Oh, well, we have a bridge over there. Nobody's claiming. It's not the town's. It's not anybody's. And I can let you have it for $7,000. Just hit me up on my TikTok. A caller in Greeley said her son locked her out of the house. He then told her, I love this, to go pawn something to buy cat litter. What a family. What a wonderful mother-son relationship that is. So the son locks her out of the house, and if she wants to come in, she's got to buy the cat litter. She doesn't have any money, so Mom, go pawn something and buy litter. You can kind of tell this is not in maybe the better part of Greeley, Colorado, where something like this would happen. All right, let's do one more. And let's do one more old-time item from the Greeley Tribune. A 26-year-old man has been charged with disturbing a dance in Eaton, Colorado. Now, this is not the other guy who went into the town hall and the Gill whatever and shot people, but a 26-year-old man back in 1922 was disturbing a dance in Eaton. After he signed in and paid his admission to the dance, he started dancing alone wearing a hat. Does anyone still wear a hat? Anyway, but it doesn't say if, by the way, if he had been wearing, quote, only a hat. I would get that as a disturbance. But apparently it was just disturbing to watch him waltz around by himself wearing a hat. The manager told him that it was not allowed to wear a hat and dance. And the man told the manager, quote, "You take it off my head." This gets interesting. At the same time, he reached behind him as though he was taking out a gun or a knife. So this is like Crocodile Dundee so far before that. No weapon was found, though, and the man was arrested. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're going to a dance in Eaton, either dance with someone else and keep your hat on, or dance alone and take your hat off. Not sure what the other permutations are, but you can leave your hat on, but you will get arrested. Ladies and gentlemen, that, for this June 25th, 2022, is Greeley Crimes and Old Times.
Mr. Horace Greeley was no fool. I'm sure that you agree with me that Greeley was no fool.
What he is getting at is that Mr. Greeley was no fool.
Yippee-yi, 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 yi-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi, yippee-yi.
Hi, this is Bob Dylan. When I'm on the road dreaming and scheming and playing my heartfelt music all over America, I need to hear myself in my speakers. But what good are the best amplifiers if your ears are full of wax? Now, look out, kids. You can light yourself a candle or dig out the crust with a guitar pick, but there's a better way. Introducing Wax Vac. It's a safe and effective way to be a clean-cut kid. Cotton swabs can push the dirt into the deep, hollow dungeon of your head. Ow! So stop digging, you dig? Now, you might be saying, I don't believe you. But doctors everywhere warn against putting a cotton swab in your ear because it can cause significant damage.
Don't use a cotton swab in your ear because it can cause significant damage.
That's my best friend, my doctor. Now, every Wax Vac comes with 8 color-coded silicone tips. So take a tip from one who's tried and try Wax Vac. Made in China, but imported right here to America. It's the safe and effective way to unload your head.
Got all the fuckheads coming out of my ears.
Oh my God, I haven't heard that since 2014. As unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, actually, the outro music for Today, Yesterday, or Greeley Crimes and Old Times is only 30 seconds long, which turns out at my age is not enough for me to run and have a pee and come back. So it just goes right to the next thing on iTunes. But as it happens, that was a really great thing to hear again. Bob Dylan. I mean, anybody remember the Wax Vac commercial? From 2014, a little skit there from Dave's Gone By. Back when we were doing audio things, because we started as a radio show for many, many years. We started on terrestrial radio on Long Island. First it was Merrick and then in Babylon. Back in October of 2002. And since then we have done 155 of these episodes of the show, and almost every single one of them. I'm actually running out of space on my server to keep putting these things up, but they're saved and they're listenable and viewable at davesgoneby.com. DAVESGONEBY, davesgoneby.com. And it's free, and also you can stream it if you don't want to download to your device. If you're worried there's no bugs or anything, but just in case, you can just click and listen or download as an MP3 or an MP4 file. However you want to do it, the archives of the show, both full episodes and also the extracted interviews and skits and other bits, all there. Just go surfing. It's literally, at this point, thousands of hours of Dave-ertainment. Plus, and I hope you find it very diverting, we put all our archives at archive.org as well. We have a channel there, so if you look for Dave's Gone By and for some reason you don't want to listen to it on davesgoneby.com, go to the archive.org, support that not-for-profit organization that is putting together just as much public domain culture as they can, from old-time radio shows and old-time TV shows to books in the public domain to paintings, all in one digital resource. And Dave's Gone By, all the episodes and interviews are there too. Archive.org. Plus, if you're just into the audio of the program and you don't want to see this, well, you can go to castbox.fm. That is a podcasting platform. So if you just want to download and go, you just want the MP3, you can still get that on davesgoneby.com also. But you can, if you're into it, you can do the podcast castbox.fm. And also, if you live on Long Island in Nassau County and you get Altice Cable and you get Channel 20 and you're home on Tuesday nights from 9:30 till 10:30, you can watch a 1-hour excerpt of Dave's Gone By right on your cable box, right on TV. So it's Channel 20, Tuesday nights, 9:30 p.m. From Altice Cable in Nassau County. And we also have a YouTube channel where most of our archives are, the ones that haven't been copyright zapped for when we used to play music and things. So there's that. What else? Any other places where the show is? If you Google it, if you're looking for a particular person who was on the show, an interview that you want to watch, or you just want to go randomly by date, just search it, Google it, or best of all, there's a search engine on davesgoneby.com. It's amazing what you will find there after 19 and a half years. Well, it is about 10 to noon Eastern Time. We don't have that much more to do. We've got our friends in the neighborhood. We've got our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. But I put it off, man. I put it off for almost 2 hours now, or 3 hours. But how can we, and we knew it was coming, right? And we were warned, and elections have consequences. That's the whole thing. If you know me, if you saw me on this show, there were many, many times that I defended Donald Trump from people who were saying that he was the worst president ever. It was not. His ridiculous tweets and whatever, people were saying that the worst thing ever. It's like, no, he's tweaking. Who cares? He did some good things, right? And if maybe the Democrats had worked with him on some other things, it would have been a better presidency. And he did some stupid and bad things as well. But the one thing that he would be expected to do as someone who got into bed with the right wing, and let's just say maybe he's religious in his adulterous, laughable, ridiculous, bully way, found God and decided for himself, truly, that abortion is wrong. And so he purposely appointed judges who would go the conservative way with him, and he just lucked out. He lucked out that during his only 4 years, 3 judges went away, and he got to appoint 3 conservative Republican judges who, as David Sheward said, lied on the stands when they said, Roe v. Wade is set law. It's set, no, we're not touching it. No. So you can say, and it's not just the Supreme Court, by the way. One of the things that Trump paid most attention to was trying to get and appoint circuit judges, local judges around the country in lower positions, get conservative Republicans in there. And I think at the time it was as much about fiscal stuff and having seen New York start going downhill again, to get Republican leadership around. It wasn't just abortion for him. But this is what he did. This is what he did. And the chickens have come home to roost. As we've seen on all the Twitter feeds and the Facebook feeds, all these people with pictures of Hillary Clinton. It's like, huh? We told you. We warned you. Oh, you didn't like Hillary? You know, Hillary wasn't sweet. Hillary did some creepy business deals, maybe, or not, with her husband. Hillary looked the other way when Bill was getting a blowjob from the intern. Whatever, Hillary. And now it's like we look at it and we're like, you know, a few more thousand people have voted for Hillary. We would have a very different day today, quite honestly. So this is where we're at. And Republicans have, of course, had this fun thing of saying that Biden is the great divider. They called Obama the great divider. That somehow the country, well, because they wouldn't work with him. Of course it was divided. They saw he was black, and they saw he had left-wing liberal policies, and they wouldn't work with him. And then they call him that he was dividing the country. And then would come back and then they say, oh, there was the Democrats who divided the country under Trump. Because the Democrats, you know, tit for tat. They wouldn't work with Trump at all. Everything Trump did. Trump said the sky was blue. Democrats said the sky was yellow. And the twain wouldn't meet because it wouldn't meet under Obama either. Right? And now we've got Biden in, and Republicans are saying, oh, he's this great division. Well, we're going to be, if you think this country was divided before just over management, over like, well, whether should big government or small government, state rights or more broad federal powers, which is what it's always been or supposed to have been about, as opposed to religious or ideological shit. Now it's going to fracture completely. Right? I don't know if we're going to have a civil war. I think people are just too distracted by their devices and by, let's see what's happening with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. You know, this terrible about the abortion thing, but this is a really cute picture of a cat playing a xylophone, right? No, we're in this state, thanks to social media, thanks to TV, thanks to the generation of MTV and beyond, of like, well, we should do this. Well, let's march, right? Let's write. Nobody writes letters to congressmen anymore. I guess you send an angry Twitter or something along those lines, and what? So, as we were talking about, the only way really to counter this is to just, hold your nose in 2022, and vote, and then of course in 24, because let's face it, nobody wanted to vote for Hillary, nobody wanted to vote for Joe Biden, but Trump was the alternative. So, and he did some bad things in office, dumb things in office. And so, Biden legitimately won. And then 2 years in, first of all, anytime a president has that level of majority, the country, and this is a good thing, tends to want to level it out. So you've got a president who's powerful, and then you've got both houses of Congress and stuff, and it all is voting the one way. That's a little scary, usually, for the Republic. So that's immediately a time for people who say, got a Republican president, we need a Democratic Congress. We got a Democratic president, let's make sure we have a Republican Congress. So nothing too outrageous comes through. Right? So now, look what we got. We have Biden with everything on his side, and there are things that cannot be controlled. And the Republicans were thinking, up until a day ago, well, look at the economy. Look at gas prices. Look at the crime in the streets and in the cities. Look at all the things that the Democrats were going to throw money at and solve, and they haven't done a fucking thing. Let's get Republican leadership in to control the cities. Let's not throw money at these programs, and let's not do that, and let's not worry about what bathroom your questioning child is going to. Let's just make sure that kid is learning English math, right? So Republicans figured, and maybe still do, that going into the midterms, they're gonna like rock it, right? Because nobody's loving the Biden administration. Nobody loves Kamala Harris. Nobody thinks anything is going well if you go to the gas station and pay for something. If you figure just how much your paying for anything you're buying. If you're trying to buy a car or a computer, and you have to wait 4 months and pay, $200 more than you would have 2 years ago. Right? Nobody's happy about it. Nobody is opening up their TIA crefts or their 401ks and being happy over the past few weeks. Nobody is happy about anything. And nobody looks to Joe Biden giving a speech on TV and looks at that pale, sort of vacant face and goes, oh, there's a president. There's a leader. Nobody, if he'd been elected 15, 20 years ago, sure. But what we got is like, even if he's doing amazing things, or not amazing things, but even if he's really working behind the scenes, even if he really is all there, it doesn't come across. We were sold a bill of goods. We had Trump and all his problems and Biden way over the hill. Choose one. Choose the lumpy piece of shit versus the soggy piece of shit. What the fuck? So you choose one, and I'm glad we have a Democrat in power. God knows what the fuck America would look like if Trump had 4 more years right now. So, but that's where we are. And the thing is, Republicans figuring, okay, now it'll be midterms, things are terrible in America, we're scared of the whole Russian war, all our money's going to help Ukraine, which isn't going to win anyway, and then the Republicans are still hammering about fucking like 13 Marines killed in Afghanistan, even though we had to get out of Afghanistan, and we are, yay. And God took care of Afghanistan this week because they had an earthquake that killed 1,000 people, a good start, right? So, all right, fine. Republicans are thinking, this is our chance. We're going to turn the momentum. We're going to have a blue wave everywhere because things suck. And they're going to vote out the people in power because the people in power are fucking it up. Except, maybe now, thanks to the Supreme Court, thanks to Trump's appointments, thanks to Ruth Bader Ginsburg not knowing when to leave the room, the Democrats may have a sliver here. Democrats may be able to launch a campaign, and not just the squad people, not just the far left wing, but to be able to say, if you are a woman and you believe in being able to control your own body within reason, not to bring a kid to 8 months in your belly and then kill it, right? No, that's much. Even 6 months is much, right? But no abortion, to someone to tell you what to do with your own body. If you're a woman who feels that way, then whatever you were going to think about gas prices, whatever you were going to think about, a shooting in your neighborhood, whatever you were going to think about everything else that's in the country that's feeling wrong and negative and bad, you go to the poll and you hold your nose and you vote D down the fucking line to make sure that at the very least you not only for the 2 more years of Biden, like he has more control, but if Trump comes back or another Republican comes in, they've got to contend with a House or a Senate or both that are not in their pocket. Okay? And what I don't and what I think would be, what can be done besides the voting? Because the voting is we have news cycles that are so short, and the voting is so far away. Right? It's hard to take that rage that we have right now, right this second, and say, okay, in November, right? It's not even summer. We just hit summertime. In November, feel that rage. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll still carry that over. But there's other things. Like, I'm not saying get violent, right? I'm not calling for physical, actual violence. And I'm not calling for even protests on, at the homes of the Supreme Court justices, right? Don't go on their personal property. Don't. Away from the, on the street, just far enough away from the borderline, if you want to hold up a sign, if you want to hold up an air horn, shout at them and make their lives miserable that way in a legal way. You can annoy them that way. Don't accost them in restaurants. If you happen to pass Amy Coney Barrett and her family sitting and eating at a Stuckey's, you can kind of on your way to the bathroom just give them a, But don't start hollering at them. Don't, that's illegal too. You can't make someone fear for their person. And by the way, that bitch is probably carrying a gun. So if you start hollering at her, she may go off half-cocked like her brain and have at you. So, in a safe, legal, angry way, find ways to get back. Which could mean, and I don't, my wife said, no, this never could happen, never would happen. What if there were a women's general strike? What if, and feel free to share this and tweet this, and it's my idea, go ahead and run with it. A day in July or August or whenever, when every woman who is on this side of the issue, who believes in pro-choice, just says, I am not going to work today. I am not going to do childcare today. I want to see how the world runs when 51% of the population just says, okay, man, your fucking world. See if the trains run, see if the planes fly. See, when the person who does this job is a woman, and their person claimed to be their replacement or their second in command is a woman, and the third person is also a woman. And they gotta go with the fourth person who has to land a plane, right? Or run a supermarket, or do this, or do that, or be in a Broadway show, although that, of course, is a left-ish kind of thing. But if the world for a day stops just because men can't, there aren't enough men to do all the things that women do to help run the world and run the family and run the home and run the country, right? So if they could come up with a day, it would have been great if it was B-Day, Vagina Day, February 14th. But okay, pick another. Mother's Day, whatever day it is. And everybody settle on that day. So everybody take a vacation there. Or if you're coming sick, call in sick, right? If you can afford it, right? And if you're a woman who believes in what went down and said, no, abortion is a terrible thing at any age, it is murder, it's not even a biblical thing, it's just I feel it's murder, fine. Don't take part, you go in and have a normal day. But every woman within the sound of my voice, wherever the hell you're listening to this show, and you get together with other women, and suddenly there's just a day of not even rage, not even a day of destruction or violence or anything, just a day of no women doing shit. And you know what? It's not even my idea. This idea is from, is it Aristophanes, I think, who wrote the play Lysistrata, or Lysistrata, it might be pronounced. What was it? The women wanted to stop the war. They wanted their husbands home. They didn't want them dying or coming home maimed. What did the women do? They said, okay, you do what you do, and we're just not going to touch it. We're going to get all pretty for you, and I don't like perfume, but they're all perfumed and nice and seductive and sexy, and then you come near us, and it's like, I'm going to sleep. Good night. Deal with it yourself. Or go Greek and go fuck a boy. If women start, and that would not be just for a day. If women did that, then Jewish women do it anyway. But if all women denied boyfriends, husbands, senators, congressmen, and fucking guys on the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas's bitch, if she denied him, day after day after day after day after. It may still not change anything, but it will punish the people who are responsible for that. That's what we want to do. We want to punish. Again, can you legally go into a big freeway and stop traffic as they did yesterday? Eventually, people are going to be arrested for that. Eventually, trucks have to go, cars have to go. The world does go on, right? So I don't know how often you can do that or should do that if it's illegal to block commerce. But there's other things that you can do that are perfectly legal that will make life miserable. Has nobody thought about protesting legally, assembly, at churches and Orthodox and synagogues and Lutheran temples and any place that would be teaching biblical shit that countenances, if that's the word, that brings forth these feelings that it's not just, oh, it's a terrible thing, but that it's some sort of God thing. That God doesn't want you to take a life. God doesn't, anybody who speaks for God in a political way, go fuck yourself. And have people show up, join hands in a block around a church that you particularly know, because some churches are very progressive and some synagogues, of course, are progressive, but a church that you know is breeding minds that are destructive to freedom and to women. Just go out there. And again, you can't block people from going in, egress, or you let them in, but you can shout at them. You can say terrible things at them. You can wave your signs at them and make it very unpleasant for them to come and go in and out of that church. Why not? Go get the church. It's just the way the anti-abortion people can go to Planned Parenthood and have their things there. You know, I'm not saying blow up churches. I'm not. I'm saying, blow up within yourselves with the anger. Wear shirts. I mentioned I really was disappointed in the Broadway community that they didn't all dress like The Handmaid's Tale. Wouldn't that have been an image that they'd be using now of every single actress nominated for the Tony and all the women and men in the audience dressed like The Handmaid's Tale, to show solidarity, to show how you're really feeling, and to show that this isn't just a thing. Now, granted, you can say, oh, these are the worst of times. We're living in just the worst fucking time. We're not. Again, we're really, as much as you might hate Biden, left or right, these are tough times. But it's not 1942. It's not 1943. It's not 1969. If you were 18 years old and male, and your hands were shaking if you got an envelope in the mail from the government, where you had to decide, you get out of this country or you go risk being killed. If you were black and you didn't go to college, right? 1969, 70, 67, 68, 71, they were worse than this particular bit of news. So let's keep that in perspective as well. This is terrible news. It's a terrible day. But we're also, step back a breath, and cycles change. Things do swing. The pendulum goes back and forth. Only 6 years ago, we had a black liberal president in the United States who did a lot of really good things. Not perfect by any stretch, but he did a lot of really good things and stood for a whole bunch of good things. And this was a man, by the way, who was against gay marriage for the first 2 years because he had to please some senators to get some stuff done. And he was not for gay marriage. But then by the end of his, he was like, yeah, of course, let them get married. And the empire did not collapse, right? And men and women could get married, and they still can for the moment to this day. So the pendulum swung, and maybe the right wing looked at that, and they looked at this increasing acceptance of transgender and trans people and gender questioning people and non-gendered folks, whatever, and they said, what the hell? It's men and women. What is going on with the world? What crazy times are we living? We got to push this pendulum back. At least let's work on abortion. Let's do something. So they push the pendulum back, and we're feeling it, right? But we do have a liberal-ish president, and he does have a Congress and so forth now. And maybe, God, please, will strike down Samuel Alito, Neil Gorsuch, Clarence Thomas, Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett. Give them all, have them all stay in the same hotel chain while they're doing their stuff on the Supreme Court. And it's one of those Legionnaire's disease air conditioners. And they all inhale and they all die. They don't have to die horribly. They just have to die. And then Biden has a thing, while he still has 2 years left instead of 1, where he can appoint liberal, centrist liberal, left-wing liberal, and push the pendulum back again. That's what we need, And it's just, it is amazing to me, and I'm not the first person saying this, that, the Supreme Court is schizophrenic. Not in the sense that first they were now they're with RBG, but that how is it that they can say, well, the conceal carry thing is not New York State's business. New York State overstepped as a state by saying, in our state, you're going to need a special license if you want to conceal and carry a firearm. Right? Well, I say you can't conceal it. You just need really special permission. You have to prove to New York, to judges, to licensors, why you need to walk around with a weapon. Okay? Conceal. Why? Are you carrying? Are you a Diamond District Orthodox Jew who have been carrying, I'm sure, guns for you? Why? Because they're carrying $1 million in their pockets from here to there for 5 blocks, down 9th Avenue, let's say. Yeah, okay. And in New York, we generally say yes to that. But if you don't really need one, what are you carrying a concealed weapon for? Now, that goes away. But the Supreme Court says, well, no, it's a federal thing. They overstepped. We, as the federal government, as one nation, all these 50 states unified, can say that for all the states, concealed carry is unconstitutional. Okay, all the states together. And yet, when it comes to killing babies that we don't want birthed, suddenly, oh, no. Federal law oversteps. You can't say from the bench or from the presidency that abortion is okay in South Carolina or Mississippi or Missouri or Arizona, wherever. No. This has to be left up to the states individually. It's the hypocrisy. It's the schizophrenia. As I say, it's going to be a long, hot summer. And I'll be there for it. I'll be talking you through it and sharing my further thoughts on this. Right now, they're all sort of angry and scrambled. Actually, that's my usual thoughts anyway. But yeah, let's close this segment of Dave Goes Off with sharing. It's just an audio file. This was before we started doing videos, or Dave's Gone By as a video show. But back in 2014, Rabbi Saul Solomon did a rabbinical reflection, a short sermon all about abortion. It had to do with abortion rights in Texas. So let me just open that up with the QuickTime player. I'm going to make it big here. Here, without further ado or a don't, once again, the one, the only, the Jewish Rabbi Saul Solomon.
Shalom, damn it! This is Rabbi Saul Solomon with a rabbinical reflection for the week of July 28th, 2013. Remember the Alamo? It was the last time someone put Texas in its place, and perhaps another whooping is long overdue. Texas wants to be in the forefront of stopping legal abortions in this country. This is ironic because Texas is the state of the union with the most people in it who should have been aborted. Last week, Governor Rick Perry signed a bill that would prohibit abortions after the 20th week of pregnancy. That's 4 fewer weeks than Roe v. Wade, which is federally protected by the Supreme Court. So, basically, Texas is saying you gotta squash the little blob before it sprouts fingers. On the surface, rolling back abortion's legality to 5 months rather than 6 isn't that horrible. Premature babies have been born at 22 weeks and lived. They went on to work at the DMV, but still, if a fetus can be extracted, incubated, and turned into a viable human being, pro-life activists have a point in saying that abortion at that stage is murdering a person. Granted, these same conservatives have no problem putting grown-ups in the electric chair and letting the poor starve to death, but teeny-weeny babies, gotta save every last one. That's what gets me about so-called pro-life activists. They're all for rescuing little souls, but once they're born, it's everybody fend for themselves. If the mother goes on welfare, she's a lazy leech. If the child grows up abused and unloved, there's no money for free counseling and social services. If the kid turns criminal, because that's the only decent employment option available to him, lock him in prison for 30 years and let him get beaten, raped, and demolished, but hey, at least he didn't die in the womb, because Jesus would have a problem with that. The new Texas law also says abortions can no longer be performed in clinics, but have to be done in centers equipped for surgery. That sounds reasonable. Mothers should have safe and sterile hospitals to go to in case the kid is born with two heads. But remember, if you take away the clinics and the doctors who will do the procedure for $300 and some homemade pastries, you're sending poor people without health insurance to places they can't afford, which really means you're sending them to a cousin in a basement with a coat hanger and a pillow. The middle-aged white men of the great state of Texas even want to control birth control. Thanks to their new law, Texas women can no longer take RU-486 at home, but have to be under doctor's supervision, which means, again, that if you have the money for continuous doctor visits, you're granted more rights under the law than the underclass who don't. And I love how the pro-lifers always say that every soul is precious and that the fetus you abort could be the next president. That embryo you just sucked out was the girl who grew up to cure cancer. You never hear the right-to-lifers say, that unborn soul could have been the next Hitler. They never think, that future human floating around in your belly, next marathon bomber, next Osama bin Laden, next Donald Trump. I, Rabbi Sal Solomon, go on record as saying that I am pro-choice. Not only that, I am pro-abortion. Early term, late term, rape, incest, frat party mistake. If the child is not wanted and cannot be properly raised, don't bring it into this overpopulated planet. I'm so pro-abortion, I think it should be retroactive. If I'm on an airplane and there's a 2-year-old screaming in the seat behind me, get the knife and pop the head. At that age, you can still devein them like a shrimp. And of course, the abortion battle still comes down to that age-old problem of religious zealots, mostly male, who want to control women. Not that I blame them. When was the last time a Jewish man controlled the women in his life? But seriously, if I get a tumor in my abdomen, God forbid, I go to the doctor and he says, it's not cancer, but it's like cancer. I recommend taking it out, but it's up to you. Nobody tells me what I have to do with my body. If I want to leave the tumor in and watch it grow like those bulges on Dr. Phil's head, that's my business. If I want to remove it and keep it in a jar near the gefilte fish, my choice. Don't you dare tell me that something growing inside my own body is regulated by the church or punishable by law. And don't tell a woman that the growth inside her is your business. If abortion laws in this country become more restrictive for women, I say we should make dentistry illegal for men. If a guy has a rotten tooth, he has to keep it in his mouth for 9 months or until it falls out of its own accord. If he doesn't like it, he can go in a back room with a string and a doorknob. Come to think of it, that's the way I used to do circumcisions. Anywho, let's keep a very sharp eye on Texas, because the state that gave us George W. Bush, the assassination of Kennedy, and AstroTurf has no business regulating morality or maternity. This has been a rabbinical reflection from Rabbi Sal Solomon, Temple Sons of Bitches in Great Neck.
Great Neck, New York, of course, where Rabbi Sal Solomon has his temple, and where we are very, very thrilled. I'm so glad to hear that again. I agree 150% with everything the rabbi says, although I usually do. Not everybody does, but in this case, I think he's absolutely 120% spot on. Rabbi Sal Solomon. To hear that again, or read that, or read any of his rabbinical reflections, go to shalomdammit.com. Well, it's about 20 after 12 Eastern Time in the neighborhood. We still have a horrible poem to do, but before we get to that, it is time to thank one more time the brand new friend of the neighborhood. He is Tony Sportiello, he's really busy today over at this new off-Broadway theater, the AMT. It's between 8th and 9th Avenue in Midtown Manhattan. It was the old Ken Davenport Theater, the West 45th Street Theater. So go there. Seth Biesenhersh's musical Love Quirks is going to be opening there in a week or two. You've also got Shrek Jr. for the kids is being done there. Al Tapper, another friend of the neighborhood, he's going to have his review of songs in An Unbalanced Mind. That's going to be done there too, and some other shows that they are prepping. It's the AMT, and we congratulate Tony Sportiello on the imminent opening of the AMT Theater, and we're thrilled that he is a brand new friend of the neighborhood. Now, friends of the neighborhood are people who've been on this program in the past. They've been guests, and we like to keep tabs on them and let you know what they're up to since they've been on the show in recent times. For example, we'll remind you that tonight at 5:30, Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano are singing songs at Birdland. Go to birdlandjazz.com for tickets. I haven't checked. They're probably going to be extended into July, I'm imagining, but I'm not sure. I do need to check. But definitely tonight over at Birdland, Eric Comstock and Barbara Fasano. And speaking of cabaret, on June 29th, my mom's birthday, Jeff Harner, Laurie Beach is at, the Laurie Beachman Theater singing songs from his new album, I Know Things Now. The delightful Jeff Harner, he will be at the Beachman, also in Midtown. This is, almost your last chance to catch the new musical called Bruce, that is adapted from Carl Gottlieb's book, The Jaws Log, and that is out at Seattle Repertory Theater, just through June 28th. Now through the middle of July, you can catch Austin Pendleton on Broadway in the Minutes, that's playing at Studio 54. Willard Manis's play The Funny Man, about writer S.J. Perlman, is being done at the Brick House Theater in North Hollywood, that's in California, only through July 17th. Katsura Sunshine's Rakugo of Japanese storytelling, that is playing either weekly or monthly now through September 1st at New World Stages off-Broadway. And Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway, they did choose a closing date. It's not going to be there that much longer. You have until mid-September to see Christian Knoll appearing in Dear Evan Hansen. And then Come From Away, I love that show, by Irene Sankoff and David Hein. It's at the Schoenfeld Theater now through October 2nd. Paradise Square, which is co-written by our fairly recent friend Larry Kerwan and choreographed by the brilliant dance designer Bill T. Jones. That is at the, I don't have the theater down, but that is on Broadway, and it needed a box office boost. It kind of got one from the Tony Awards and from Joaquina Kalakungo's performance at the Tonys. We'll see if that still carries over. Mr. Saturday Night, that's the Billy Crystal show at the Nederlander Theater, has lyrics by Amanda Green, and they're very clever lyrics indeed. See that, or see Aladdin on Broadway at the New Amsterdam Theater, which has music by Alan Menken. Jim Caruso's Cast Party every Monday night at Birdland. Go to birdlandjazz.com for tickets. Check stagebuddy.com for theater reviews and things about New York nightlife. Evan Seplow is the editor of stagebuddy.com. DrDemento.com for new and old Dr. Demento shows. And then, of course, our great friends Charlie Gross and Leslie Hoban Blake. Go to their YouTube channel, Two on the Aisle, to watch their theater review show. Vicky Quaggy, she does her show Late Night Catechism and also Bible Bingo at the Greenhouse Theater in Chicago, Illinois. David Sheward, read him at the David Desk, that's his blog, and also read his theater reviews at culturaldaily.com and theaterlife.com. And those, my friends, are the friends of the neighborhood. So we have one more item of business to take care of here on this 855th edition of Dave's Gone By, which is brought to you sort of by the fine. Well, no, I can't do a sponsorship. I won't put it like that. I'll just say that if you happen to be in Hewlett, Long Island, and you stroll by the Minuteman franchise there, stop in and say hello to the Toron family there. They do really good work, and they're great to deal with, and they have copy machines and printing and lithography and silk screening and putting things on things. And I'm not doing a commercial. I'm just saying it's a place you might want to stop in just for fun. Anywho, okay, that takes care of that. Now let's take care of Broomfield, Colorado, which is a Joyce and I lived in Colorado for a bunch of years. Don't live there anymore, but I still write poems about every single place in Colorado that I can. And the latest one is Broomfield, and since these are short poems, they're limericks, and they tend to be, as limericks are, filthy and awful and vulgar and risque. How's this one? Yeah, this one really hits home more than any, by sheer accident, honest to God, this week's Colorado Limerick of the Damned.
A limerick is a comic verse of 5 lines, in which lines 1, 2, and 5 will end with words that rhyme. And likewise, verses 3 and 4 also end with words that rhyme. So this is a limerick. Rocky Mountain,
Colorado, Rado, getting Rocky Mountain High with our Colorado Limerick of the Damned. And Broomfield, let me tell you about it. It's both a city and a county. It's small, but densely populated. Got 74,000 people in it in central northern Colorado, not very far from Denver. I think it's part of the Denver-Boulder overall area. It was a railroad town, and its first name was Zang's Spur. Why? Because they had a railroad spur that was serving Adolph Zang's grain field. Well, Zang's Spur, I think Broomfield's a bit of a better name. The Broomfield name probably came from the crop of broom corn that is growing there. So this corn thing that the husks they would use for the bristles and brooms and things like that. They called it broom corn, and of course the town Broomfield. The city tends to be left-leaning, has a local newspaper and a PBS TV affiliate, and it also has the Paul Durda Recreation Center. Yeah, okay. And trails and biking and all the usual Colorado stuff. Now it has, not only that, but a poem for it, our Colorado Limerick of the Damned, Broomfield, Colorado. Said a desperate sprinster, damn it, I'll do it again. Always after 3 hours, right? Said a desperate spinster in Broomfield, all my searching does not a good groom yield. Now, maybe one night I will meet Mr. Right, but till then I am keeping my womb sealed. Huh? Wrote that a couple of weeks ago, before. Serendipity, ladies and gentlemen. And serendipity-doo-dah, we are done with this episode of Dave's Gone By, featuring me, Dave Lefkowitz, my darling and adorable wife, Joyce, who I have to go get momentarily. And what else? What else can I tell you? davesgoneby.com for the archives. davesgoneby@aol.com to contact me. Radio Dave 2 for our Twitter handle. And feel free to text or write to me, even right here on this Facebook page, or message me, because I'd love to read your comments, your thoughts. Remember, we will be here next Saturday, July 2nd. We've got a guest, Gary Morgenstein. He's a playwright, and he has a play called A Black and White Cookie that was being developed like just before the pandemic, and they got some pretty good word of mouth, and then had to go away. They are reopening it downtown. So we're going to talk to the author of A Black and White Cookie, Gary Morgenstein. That is happening next week. And then on July 9th, Jen Maxfield, who is a newscaster, has been for several years. She's written a book about local journalism, and it's really good. And we really want to talk to her, Jen Maxfield. And then on July 16th, Jim R. Moore, who's put together a book of photographs, beautiful black and white and color photographs, of avant-garde, off-Broadway and circusy type of entertainers, some of whom have been on this program, people like Penny Arcade, and I'm not remembering too many of the others, but other folks who are downtowny, like Red Bastard. You know, there's actually a clowny character called Red Bastard who's done a lot of stuff off-Broadway, and people like that. Shame on me for forgetting the guy who hammers nails into his nose in Coney Island, but he's in the book. And all these marvelous pictures and some interviews and text about doing not traditional, non-commercial theater, plus these great photos in his book. We'll be talking to Jim R. Moore later in July. But next week, it will be Gary Morgenstein as our friend, our new coming friend of the neighborhood here on Dave's Gone By. So it just remains for me to say, hey, look, again, it's all terrible. It's all going to shit, but we're still alive. And then next Monday, not this coming Monday, but Monday, July 4th, yes, we can celebrate America or burn American flags if you have to, but by God, at Nathan's in Coney Island, Joey Chestnut, Joey the Jaws, will be, God willing, going to try and break a record again, or at the very least win again in the Coney Island hot dog eating contest. This is a preview for you. Well, how so good. I gotta work on it. Anyway, see, when all hope is lost, there's always Joey Chestnut trying to eat 800 pounds of hot dogs in 10 minutes. Yeah. So, if the world doesn't end between now and then, we'll see you next Saturday, 9 until noon or thereabouts, for the 856th edition of Dave's Gone By. Until then, feel the anger, manifest the anger, do things with the anger, and gone by.
Days gone by, they're gone by. Days gone by, they're gone by. Days gone by, they're gone by.
And seriously, God, if you could kill those Republican Supreme Court justices, just fucking do it.